talk to you again, Dakota.
Bro, it's been a long time. I've been off the air for a little bit. I've just been busy handling, life shit, handling biz outside of boxing. But this is a big episode today, bro. This is a big episode today. Not just because my friend Harry the Hitman Gigliotti is on, but today is episode 100, which is a pretty big deal.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go, my guy. And it's Harry Gigliotti on it for episode 100.
Yeah, it's only fitting. It's only fitting. So even with all of the the hiatuses and the gaps, we're at 100 episodes. I'm thrilled to have you on today, brother, and thanks for joining me as always. This is what your third time now?
My third time, yeah. A couple bumps in the road with management, fucking articles, all that shit. So I kind of took my time to just focus on me. But it's good to be back on here. It's good to catch up with you, my brother, for real.
So let's just jump right in, bro. Last weekend, I believe it was last Friday, you had a hell of a fight with Mike Ohan. It was a close fight. You had to recover from a knockdown in the middle of the fight, but talk us through your experience of the fight.
The beginning rounds, I started off kind of, hot. I was, breaking the distance, kind of working the pace, and I felt like I was in control. I created the distance, stepped in, and then caught him off an overhand right, kind of had him in retreat mode, to break him down with. I was getting inside the body, coming up top, and getting a reaction for sure. But then I started kind of playing outside and working the jab, and I could see the tide turning where he was trying to walk me down. It was crazy. It was like a back and forth. I'm going to get the better of you. You're going to get the better of me. And then in the fifth round, of course, I got a little too square and I got a little too tight. And I was kind of, I had this arm right here protecting my midsection around my kidney. And he just he did the Mickey Ward wrap around, touched me right on the liver. And the first time I ever been hit with that, it was with my cousin Jeff Fraser back when I was like 14. So I was familiar with it, but it was such a nostalgia. It was like almost nostalgia being hit with it because, my cousin's, the Hellraiser Fraser, he's fighting on the Contender and he's, a professional and I didn't know anything about boxing. So getting hit with that at that time, it was like a brand new feeling and he was just touching me. He wasn't really ripping it. You know what I mean? So to be full on ripped right around the corner of my fucking liver. Oh, dude, I wanted to fight it so bad, and there was a part of me that was like, "Don't go down." But if he realized that I was hurt, and my body shut down, like it was like my hands weren't. I was just like,
which was pretty wild because
but I would have been like full pause.
You got on
go on.
Right after, which I thought was kind of impressive. That because I know when you take a shot like that,
I got up at 9, which I didn't want to. I was like, "Fuck!" I thought I was cashing out. But I saw him get to 8, Leo, and I was like, I gotta get up, man. I at least gotta go out on my shield if that's the case. Let them TKO me. But I can see, once I got up and I got my footing back, and I kind of was getting, back on the balls of my feet and bouncing, I could kind of pick my jab up again. And I was like, I'm just gonna have to pop the jab till the bell rings. The bell rang instantly, so I was like, fuck, I probably could have waited the 10 seconds and not take the knee. But it was just smart investing. You know what I mean? I was like, I want to get out of this round and try to recover as fast as I can to get ready for the 6th round. And then it happened again in the 6th round at the end of the round. Yeah. It didn't even land on my liver this time. It landed on my arm. It pushed enough pressure just to react the same way as when he actually touched my liver. I think it was just because it was so sore from the first liver shot. So any kind of, any kind of reaction to it was going to hurt it. You know what I mean? If he started ripping repeatedly to my arm, I would have felt it every time. I would have felt the body shot.
Let's go back to the 5th round for a second, because it felt like to me that you were actually winning the fight. It felt like you looked comfortable in there.
I can't believe this. 79-72, one of the judges had it. I was like, dude, that's why I'm getting out of boxing. I'll go into bare knuckle. I'll become a prize fighter. You know what I mean? I don't want to deal with this fucking political shit anymore. I'm all set with that. 76-75, it's doable. 79-72, that's hangable. That's fucking hangable.
It's
That's
pretty
handle.
bad, bro. And there was first of all, there was a lot of close rounds in there, but particularly the first round and I believe the second round were
There
clearly.
was some toss-up rounds. There was for sure some toss-up, and I knew that was going to be a thing in the fight. You know what I mean? I knew it was just going to be a back and forth fight. The styles were going to fucking clash. You know what I mean? That was the beauty of this. Is it was going to be a barn burner. You know what I mean? I knew that going in. I knew this was not going to be no fucking walk in the park. I think we're the two best in New England. I mean, maybe that's me being biased because I'm talking about myself here, but I mean, I'll give Mike it. He's the number one guy, and I think I'm number two right now. And I don't see a lot of people in this area taking fights with me right now. So I mean, I'm weighing that out. I got to rebuild a little bit, but me and Mike are the best guys out here. And I think we showed that last Friday, hands down. Me and Mike, why I think we're the best right now is because we actually took the fight and we stepped up and put on a show for New England when no one else is doing it. You know what I mean? That's my long story short. Back to the fifth round though with the body shot. Yeah, I'm still can't believe I recovered from it and got up. I really can't. There was a part of me that was just like like the law of attraction was just like, don't punish yourself right now. And I'm like, no, I gotta get up. Fuck that. I'm not going out like this. No fucking way. If Tiger Johnson wasn't putting me down, there's no way Mike Owen is putting me down. It's kind of how, you know what I mean? Like I'm too good to be finished by Mike Owen. I knew that. I knew that going in, there was no way he was going to stop me. So I wasn't going to put that in my head because I took a fucking knee. You know what I mean? I just think that I'm better. I still think I'm better than him. I still think I can outbox him. I obviously that's how you should think, but I'd love to see a rematch and I feel like I just got greedy, man. I really did. I feel like I over committed. I tried to bite too much off my plate. I did the same thing I did with Bang Williams. I was in the pocket for a little bit too long. And you know what? Maybe that's a little bit of being a little too cocky and not being self-aware that this is a real fucking guy in front of me. You know what I mean? So
What was your take on him?
Still, I have nightmares over the body shot. By the way, I still wake up and I'm like, dude, that was fucking brutal, bro. It was brutal.
What was your take on him as a fighter, both before the fight and while you're in the ring? It seemed like just watching him a couple of times, like his best attribute is his timing. He knows how to land a clean shot on the spot.
He's a pretty slow puncher. Once you kind of find, but he's the way he timed it, like you said, he's precise with how he throws his punches, which is dangerous. He can be a very dangerous puncher. His right hand, though, he lunges with it. That's how I kept countering with the check left. A few times he walked in on that where I timed that beautifully, but he always had an answer for it. So it's like, I can't hurt this kid. I'm trying to, you know what I mean? Like I am hurting him, but he's got the same dog that I have in me. So it's like, it's not really, worth loading up and trying to knock this kid out rather than trying to break him down and have him get hit with the punch that he doesn't see, which is probably going to hurt him more. You know what I mean? So I feel like I maybe blew my load a little bit too early on because I was throwing those big shots that were obviously hurting him, but it's like he can see this coming. You know what I mean? So I do think I invested the punches the wrong way during the earlier rounds rather than weighing it out, kind of breaking him down, and then kind of hitting him with those fast shots that the bang, because we were both inside the pocket, touching the body, shoe shine, coming up top with the hook. We both had the same game plan. You know what I mean? But I felt like I was rolling with his punches beautifully. I don't know. My defense and my guard was fucking amazing. A lot of even the commentators, which were fucking wicked biased during the whole fight, were even like, both these guys have a lot of endurance and cardio, and their guard has been pretty great. I mean, like we really weren't breaking through each other, until probably the eighth round where we were just kind of just going. You know what I mean? Going at it. And not really, like he would hit me with a beautiful combo. I'd catch a little bit, and then I'd come right back and check left and turn his head, and then
the last round was a classic, bro.
I mean, it was a fucking class. What would you call that when Mickey Ward and Gotti fought? It was a clash. You know what I mean? There was a collision course. What is it? What'd you say?
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah. collision crash.
Which I think is also part of the reason why at some point in your careers, I think a rematch will be so interesting, is because it's good for
I'd like to see a bigger platform grab this. You know what I mean? Like, that's something you see on ESPN Friday Night Fight. You know what I mean? Or that's a Gotti fucking Mickey fucking clash. I'm sorry. And I respect the kid. He respects me. But when I get in the ring, he's fucking nobody to me. I have to beat this kid. That's how I look at it. It's how I always look at it. And dude, it's crazy because when we were doing the press conference the week before, it was all like shaking hands, like talking about the Canelo undercard and how he wanted to fight in Vegas. That's like his biggest thing, his dream. And we were talking about the big stages, and then at weigh-ins, he was like a totally different person. Like I'm still Harry Gigliotti trying to shake his hand and like, what's up, my guy? Like, and he's like, what's up? And but I made sure, like, at the weigh-ins, I still showed the respect. Like when I dabbed him up and we hugged it, I said, no one out here is doing this like me and you, man. Like, so, this is big on both of us, and we're changing the game. You know what I mean? So when people are sitting back and still padding, me and him are putting it all on the line, and we're giving New England what they want, a good fight and a good showing between two real athletes. You know what I mean? So I can't be upset with myself over the loss, as more as I just think I could have done more, and I wish I did some things differently. You know what I mean? That's like the thing that's eating me up the most, is like, I had it in the back. I really did.
Especially
like,
when it's a close fight like that, in a close fight, you're always going to feel like that. You know what I mean? Because I think if there's no knockdown, because the knockdown really was what shifted the momentum. And if there's no knockdown, it's a 50-50 fight.
Obviously, the promotion wise, I'm how that works. You know how the politics in boxing work. I'm still fighting off my back. Now I'm really fighting off my back after a knee. Now I almost gotta knock him down in a beautiful fashion that makes the crowd go, whoa. You know what I mean? Like where they were all talking shit and like throwing jabs at me when I got in the ring. And then right in the first fucking 3 rounds, everyone was quiet. Like his whole crowd was just, because I was just dictating the pace, and I was having my way with him. You know what I mean? If I wanted to break his guts up, I could break his guts up. If I wanted to come back up top, I could come back up top. And I was just pushing him. That's why I got to say to him, he's a tough fucking prick. I can't take that from him. The kid has he has a lot of pedigree, man. I mean, first off, he had 66 fights, in the amateurs. He went to nationals twice. This wasn't anything he hadn't seen before. But even with my professional background, with the opponents I've fought, this wasn't anything I haven't seen before either. You know what I mean? So it was a beautiful match that needed to be made. I just wish there was more. Not saying Granichins didn't do a great job, because for a club show, I feel like they went above and beyond. So hats off to Chris Trietti and their promotion for giving us that platform, having the news, WBBMZ or whatever come in, and the Boston Herald and the radio stations, and just everything come together and make it a good New England clash. You know what I mean? That's what the fans deserve, and what the fighters deserve too. We deserve to get some recognition for that. So I can't complain, obviously, about the promotion and everything that came together to make the fight happen. I just wish that someone like Nesson or ESPN would grab it and get us a little more recognition.
I think it would,
or like Pro Box, something like
Pro Box or Show Box. Either of those would be kind of a perfect.
Well, now listen, with BYB, it's the same guys. It's Michael Goldberg and fucking Paulie Malignaggi and all those guys. They commentate BYB. I built a platform with BYB, and next time I go over to the sister promotion of boxing that kind of works with BYB fighters, Pro Box and stuff like that. I think that will give me an opportunity to fight on these cards. And I don't give a shit anymore. I'll go fight a content creator on Kingpin or even DayZone Misfits. You know what I mean? I'll go do that shit. I'll go have fun with it, because I've put it all on the line. I don't feel bad anymore. I'm a prize fighter or whatever. I'm a journeyman. I'm a gatekeeper. I don't care. I'll always look at myself as a contender, no matter what, because I always feel like I have a puncher's chance. I have a boxer's chance.
Well, and listen, Harry, there's a lot of guys out
I'm
here.
gonna upset some fucking people, regardless. I know I can. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of guys in this era that are building themselves up a different way than you are. You're taking challenging fights. You're taking fights that fans are actually interested in. And I think that even in the Tiger Johnson fight, when you get in there, like people know it's you, and you stick with, like, Tim Bradley thought you were a fucking trip, bro. Like he really,
I know.
he really liked you.
No, I know. And listen, Tim Bradley gave me a lot of fucking props in the first round or two, obviously before I started getting tagged up. But he was like, dude, like this kid's here to fight. I mean, this is really what Tiger needs right now, I guess you could say, in his career, a test. You know what I mean? Not just to go in there and beat up some guy that's 2-15. You know what I mean? Actually work with someone that I guess you could say at that elite level as a gatekeeper. You know what I mean? Is like a actual real gatekeeper, like a Gabriel Rosado, someone that's there to beat you. You know what I mean? Not there to lose and take a knee. As soon as he gets hit with one big shot, he's like, oh, I'm done. I'm taking the payday. You know what I mean? I'm there to fight all fucking night. And I always believe in myself. So I'm never going to count myself out. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm a good boxer and I get a puncher's chance. So I'm never going to, I'm always there in shape and I'm always there to fucking win. So that's a fact.
And I think the fans appreciate that, bro. And there's guys out there that have really hollow 25-0 records with fights that people aren't interested, and they have the luxury of being highlighted by having those mismatches. And some guys don't get to have that. And you're one of those guys, but you always show up and you put on a hell of a fucking show.
I appreciate that, bro. For real, dude. Listen, this is another thing. This is like a real, like, fucking Ryan Garcia, I feel like wasn't ready for a body shot like that. Had never prepared for anything like that in his life. I mean, I took that twice, dude, right to the liver. I mean, obviously across the rim when you have a fucking hungry, ready to fucking jump on you, fucking Gervonta Davis is a little bit different, but I still would have gone up. This is my point. I would have gone up with Gervonta across the ring ready to knock me out. And I would have probably been ducking and trying to rip big shots and trying to give it back to him. I probably would have got slept. But I would have been there. I wouldn't have stayed down no matter what. I go out on my shield. I'm going to either go out on my sword or I'm going to go out on my shield. You know what I mean? And I got both in my hands. I'm still ready to fight. You know what I mean? I'm coming at you. But yeah, man, I know for a fact I can beat Mike Ohan. And I'm not even saying that to be cocky. I respect the kid 100%. I just believe that, I just believe I have all the right tools in the shed to beat that kid. And
is that what you'd like to do next? Like, if you could have it all your way, is that what you'd like to do next? Is run it back?
I want to run it back. I mean, that's something that I've talked to Mike about too. Like, listen, like obviously right now isn't I gotta go get my confidence back, as they say. I'm confident, but I gotta go get my confidence back. I'm gonna go beat up somebody doesn't belong in there with me, probably for the next 2 or 3 fights, because I deserve that. I haven't really had a break. Even Sandoval was a tough fucking B-side. I mean, I had ruptured eardrum after the Sandoval fight. Probably took more damage in that fight than Mike Ohan. You know what I mean? Like, that kid was a scrappy little Juan Marquez style fighter.
He was dirty too, man. Not for nothing. Like, I don't want to take anything away from the kid, but I was at that fight, as you remember.
No, he was dirty, and that made me do dirty stuff too. And I don't like to fight like that, but I'll give it back. If you're giving that to me, then I'll fucking do it. I'll lean on you. I'll push your face. I'll nudge you with my shoulder. I'll do whatever I can to fucking show you that I'm not going to sit here and let you bully me. You know what I mean? Especially, I mean, he went off to tell people he thought he won the fight. That was probably one of my easier decisions to just walk out and be like, I won that. You know what I mean? Like, I dictated that from, I feel like, round 1 to round 8. You know what I mean? I mean, pretty easily. And I went in there kind of lazy. I mean, the night before, me and Gabby fucking after weigh-ins ate loaded tots, nachos, and I was laying there after like, yo, bro, I should have not ate this food. I should have ate like a steak. I didn't take them serious. You know what I mean? And I'll that's on me. You should take every man fucking serious when they're in there, especially when they're there to beat your name. They want your name on their fucking resume, because he's 2-3. With him being 2-3, my resume means a lot more than his name on mine. You know what I mean? So that was kind of stupid of me to be a little lackadaisical about the whole, all right, well, he's an opponent. No matter what, I'm going to go in there and I'm just going to, run house because it's not. That was a tougher fight than what it should have been. And I always, of course, have to prove a point. So I started getting in there and letting my hands go a little bit too, rather than I was beating him all night with the jab in his face. But you know what? It's like, all right, you want to play dog? I'll play dog too. Then I can do that. And I think that's the biggest part. I think that's why fans love me though, is because I will put it all on the line and have fun with it. You know what I mean? I will make it interesting. You know what I mean? You want to play that fight, then we're gonna play that fight. And that's I'm a fan of myself, bro, at this point. You know what I mean? Like when I watch my fights, I'm like, wow, I did that. I made that happen. You know what I mean? I gave New England that show that no one else around here is doing, by the way. So and I still got people I want to call out, but I'm just being humble right now. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that do their talking behind the scenes, and then when they're around me, they're like, hey, dude, you're a warrior, you're a dog, blah, blah. It's like, dude, fight me then. If I'm a dog, then fight me. Then prove that you're a dog. You know what I mean? Like, I try to be respectful, but it gets to a point where it's like, I mean, I'm here to win. I'm here to be a fighter. Fight me then. You know what I mean? Prove yourself. I feel like I've proved myself. You're 11-0. And the last couple guys you fought are fucking 5-20. You know what I mean? Like, then prove to me why you can beat a real 9-5. You know what I mean? Like a real record. You know what I mean? That's just kind of where I'm at right now in my career. I want to be able to prove myself, but I'm worried about becoming like a permanent journeyman. You know what I mean? I don't want to be a permanent journeyman. I still feel like I'm young enough where I can get that Mickey Ward payday and I can bring that crowd that, wants to see a dog fight. And I feel like one of these promoters is going to grab on and be like, listen, let's not go put him in with Abdullah Mason and all these prospects. Let's match him up with someone like Mike Gohan or Brandon Higgins and give the fans a good fight. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe make it a fun fight for an IBF or a title that, isn't really as mainstream as it used to be, I guess you could say. You know what I mean? IBA, I should say. IBF is kind of still big. But yeah, I feel like there's a fight out there for me that's going to match, who I am as a fighter, and a promoter is going to see that, you know what I mean? Or a matchmaker is going to see that and say, yeah, we can make that fight happen. Even if it's not a headline or it's not like but it's still on like a MVP card. You know what I mean? Like if it's on one of Jake Paul's fucking cards, give the fans a good fight, and make people stand up and scream, because that's what I'm always going to bring. Everyone's sitting there kind of just enjoying the show, and then all of a sudden I get in the ring and Mike gets in the ring and we start banging and everyone's fucking going nuts. That's what I want to be. That's what I want. That's what boxing to me is. You know what I mean? That's how I grew up, watching my cousin Jeff and Mickey Ward and Arturo Gotti and them. It wasn't all just about the score rankings and the stock in the sport. It was about, giving fans a fun fight that they'll remember forever.
And making the fans sort of attached to you emotionally,
engaged.
That's a big part of it, man. Not every, like, the fan favorites are not always the highest ranked, right? And there's a reason for that. It's in some ways like more relatable. I think for people where, if somebody like a Guillermo Rigondeaux or somebody super technical, like we can appreciate that because we know the sport, but the fans aren't necessarily going to connect to that in the same way.
Exactly. Boxing fans nowadays, like, they didn't even know who Tiger Johnson was. I'm not rashing on the kid, but when I was there, they saw some white pretty boy in the ring and they were going, come on, Gigliotti, come on, Harry. They were yelling. And I was like, dude, I'm not even here to technically win right now. And I'm like, I'm getting mad love. And it made me feel more fire in my soul. Though, like, I gotta win this, motherfucker. Like, I'm gonna put it all on the line now. I ain't getting stopped here. You know what I mean? Like, at first I was in there, I was like, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? Fuck, this kid. As soon as they're announcing him as the Olympic quarterfinalist and all this stuff, I'm like, and I'm hearing about it all week, how this kid, has been in the ring since he was like 3 years old and all this stuff. And I'm listening to this kid's fucking credential, and I'm like, this kid's the real deal. I mean, they're trying to make a real.
He's a fantastic fighter, bro. He really is a fantastic fighter.
I think he's the best out of the prospect series right now, out of that group. I mean, Keyshawn Davis is coming right along, but I don't think Keyshawn has the power that he has right now. I think Tiger is forming into his man body faster than all those other guys. I really do. I feel like he's evolving. I mean, Abdullah Mason too. Great. I actually just got called to fight him. I'm just gonna say it now, but I'm not. I'm not gonna be a punch dummy right now for any ESPN guy. I need some wins. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna. But I think, listen, if I get a couple big wins and the money talks, the money's right, then I'm gonna put the best fucking camp in. And I'm gonna fucking come in there and try to give Abdullah Mason everything I got. I don't care if I lose, take a draw. I don't care if they TKO me, but I'm gonna try and fucking beat that boy. I really am, and I believe it. I believe I can with the right camp. I would have to have the right sparring. I'd have to have, like, I was sparring with Michelle Rivera. I'd want guys like that in my camp. And I did great. I did great. Like I said, I got tagged up sometimes. I mean, he's ranked 20 in the world, but I did good. I did real good. And I was cutting the ring off with him, and I was figuring him out. And there was a lot of respect there mutually on both sides. And Jermaine Ortiz beat the piss out of me. So I'm just going to say that. I mean, there was a couple moments where I was like, get me out of this round. You know what I mean? But I still dogged it out with him. I still went in, shoe shine, gave him every big shot I had. And there was a lot of respect between all those guys, especially at that level. I mean, they're both elite fighters. And
Jermaine is also a fucking
for me
tremendous
to be able
fighter.
to do for me to be able to go push 8 rounds, 4 with each of them, it makes me feel like I could hang with a lot of these guys. You know what I mean? Especially, I think me and Mike are like top of the tier. Like I told you, there's 4 tiers in boxing. There's that club, there's that you're a bum. I hate to say it, tomato can bum. Then there's that club show. You know, you're a club fighter. You might not break that atmosphere, but you know, you're a good club fighter, but you're not anything great. Then there's that tier 2. You're above the club status. You're a club show prospect. You're kind of, you know, at that point where you can fight elite, but you're not the best. You're probably never going to be a world contender. That's where I stand right now, I feel like. And then there's the elite. Like, then there's just that. That's how big of the gap it is, though. You know what I mean? Like, from tier 2 to tier 1, it's just like, it's massive. You know what I mean? You got kids that have been doing it with 300 amateur fights. And then you got kids that, you know, just broke out of novice going to the pros. And obviously, you know, we can hang with some of these guys, but it's tough. It's definitely tough when you're facing someone that's, you know, been in there their whole life, rather than, you know, you've been doing this for X amount of time. It's not a hobby to me. I'll tell you that much. Like it's been in my it's been in my blood. It's been in my family. I've been watching boxing, and I've been boxing since I was 14. But against these guys that have been in the Olympic training centers and, you know, having a coach pretty much wipe their ass and tell them to get up at this time and go on a run at this time, and here, take this pill at this time, or go eat, you know, this meal at this time. It's different. It's different. And I probably will never have a camp like that, but I'll try to do whatever I can to formulate.
So there's a potential with a rematch with Mike at some point. There's potential. Obviously, you've said you've gotten contacted by Abdullah Mason's camp. You've talked about doing bare knuckle at some point. What do you? And it's tough to know just a week after a fight like that was a fucking classic. But what do you feel like is sort of the next move for you?
I mean, I'm just gonna drop the ball right now. I'm fighting in BXL fucking Mississippi for BYB September 16th. I'm already in camp for it. I'm starting to talk to Jake Pilla and a lot of those guys about getting in and working with a lot of the MMA guys. He fights for Combat FC. I know you're not a big MMA guy, but it's a UFC Fight Pass platform. So the kid's the real deal, and he's got his own camp. He trains with John Doomsday and a bunch of those guys, which are veterans in the sport of the MMA. They've been in the UFC and stuff. So I'm gonna work with a lot of different people, and I'm gonna try and see where I belong in bare knuckle. I mean, if bare knuckle's the thing and it's making me money and I'm happy, and I'm kind of where I feel like boxing's got their poster boys. I want to be a poster boy for a good promotion, a good platform, and I want my name in lights. You know what I mean? And I feel like I'm a prize fighter, and if this can give me the proper promotion to get my name out there, then this is a good step forward. And like I said, there's always boxing in me, and I'm always going to come back to that. And right now, that's why we haven't signed anything yet, is because we're wigging out the contract, and we're trying to, get the right contract where, because BYB wanted to not own me, but they wanted me strictly to be fighting for them, where I'm signed with Reyes Promotions. We had to, work out a contract that was going to, not break that binding to his contract, you know what I mean, where he's promoting me as a boxer and BYB has, can't have the rights to me as a boxer or other combat sports per se. If I wanted to do like MMA or anything like that, they just basically what they want is for me to fight for BYB and not compete with any other bare knuckle fighting, promotions that are kind of, in competition with their promotion. So BYB is a good step forward. I mean, it's the triad, it's the triangle of whatever trigon they call it. And I've been, looking into that because I fought in the triad with Triller, which is funny because they took the template of the ring, like the blueprint of the ring, and Triad they got hit with copyrights because of that. They took the idea from the original BYB, which is like that of 5,000 and all those guys over there. So it's kind of crazy. Like the reason why Triller isn't a thing anymore is because they took the idea from BYB and they got sued for it. I mean, in a civil suit. So it's kind of ironic that I'm going to be fighting for the promotion that kind of took Triller out, I guess you could say. But, that's the game. And we all know how the game goes. So at the end of the day, if you're fucking doing illegal shit and you're trying to take ideas from, real big promotions, well, that's the game. That's what's going to happen. So yeah. I'm happy to be part of a promotion that doesn't fucking back down, I guess you could say, because I'm not a fighter that backs down. And, I can intertwine with that, you know what I mean, all day.
That's a quick turnaround that's a pretty quick turnaround from this fight that you just had. Do you have any idea who the opponent is?
It's not going to be anything crazy. It's just a like, this guy has probably been stopped 3 times.
Is he a boxer?
He's not a boxer. He's a backyard brawler, I guess you could say. But listen, I'm going to go in there with a good guard, and I'm going to be I'm not going in there with my fucking, I'm not playing patty cake with this kid and dancing around and being pretty. If I notice that I'm way more elite than him, then I'll have a little fun in there. You know what I mean? Because I want to give the fans a good showing. I want people to, enjoy me and want me back. You know what I mean? So, but I'm going to be smart. I'm not going to go in there and dogfight. We know that there's cuts involved in bare knuckle. We know how this game goes. You know what I mean? Like I know you don't even watch it like that, but I'm sure you've seen, highlight reels where you see the fucking faces.
I've seen not much fights.
Yeah. Have you seen the BKFC and stuff?
I've seen some of it. Yeah. Like I remember when Paulie was doing it early on, I saw a couple of those.
The fight against Knight, whatever it is, Knight Labov, whatever.
I remember Ishe Smith did a couple as well. Ishe Smith was a really good fighter a couple of years ago, and he was doing bare knuckle. If there's boxers that I recognize, I'll check it out.
Well, this is a good one, man, because it's going to be on Ben Sports, which is free, Pluto TV, all big platforms, and it's free to the public right now. It's free for people to watch. I'd get on it right now before, pay-per-view is obviously going to be down the line. It always starts free, but there's going to be pay-per-view and stuff and bigger shows where I want to be on them. You know what I mean? So, I plan on showcasing and I plan on giving people a good show on September 16th. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited to be able to get my name back. I like the TV. I like being around that. You know what I mean? So when there's not really TV and stuff involved, it's like, I got the spark in me because it's like, all right, well, I'm getting into a fight. No matter what, I got to have that in me. But it makes me more hungry to be like, I need to be the best me right now because there's people worldwide watching me and you never know who's fucking tuning in. You know what I mean? So the networking is way bigger and way larger when it has TV broadcasting. You know what I mean? We know that. Even after like fighting Tiger Johnson, the people that were calling me after were like, I wasn't getting that after a club show. You know what I mean? Like I had people like really invested in watching me in my future. You know what I mean? Like seeing what's next for Harry Gigliotti. So, I can't wait to get those phone calls again and have people surrounding me that, enjoy watching me fight and me being able to give them that satisfaction, I guess you could say, being back on TV, being in front of a live broadcast with good commentators. Like I said, Michael Goldberg. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's the guy.
He's fantastic.
Yeah, he's the guy. Here we go.
He's on Pro Box now too.
Legendary UFC fucking commentators and boxing commentators. So, and then Paulie Malignaggi. I mean, I think he's hilarious. He's goated in my heart, and he's a fellow Paisan. I mean, I'm an Italian. You know what I mean? I feel like me and him are gonna shoot the shit after, and I want to dissect his brain a little bit, and hear him out. And he's like a godfather of the bare knuckle game. So, I mean, he's one of the founder guys. I don't want to say founding fathers, but he's one of the original people to jump in on a live broadcast.
He's definitely one of the first big names to take the risk.
Yeah. I mean, he went in there against an MMA guy not knowing the styles weren't going to match like that. You know what I mean? So I if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have the blueprints to not fight like a stick and mover. You know what I mean? You got to almost kind of plant your feet. You do. You got to be really, really good defensive on the parrying and high guard where you can kind of catch, the shots, but you don't want to be too tight where you're tense and your hands are, I learned that from the triad too, but watching these guys fight, you never want to have a tight guard where they can break the distance and come over because you don't have a lot of padding. I mean,
it's an invite. It's an invite.
It's your hand. You break the guard right there. I mean, you're in. I mean, there's not really much to fucking work with. I mean, you can catch, parry, shoot, roll, but one punch is, if they're just winging shots, they're gonna break through. They're gonna get through. And a lot of these guys I've noticed, especially with the MMA background, they blitz. They come right at you. So I gotta be like, cut, bop, bop, and then out. You know what I mean? Swoop, get the fuck out, move my feet, start bouncing, get my rhythm. Like there's one thing I remembered, and I keep telling myself this because I got to keep reminding myself for when I get in there is the jab doesn't work that much, especially in the trigon or the triad or whatever you want to call it, because of the distance. Like as soon as they break past if they slip and get past your jab, they're coming over the top. They're getting in. You know what I mean? They're forcing their way in. That doesn't work where I can kind of play the defense, the catch and roll, because there's not much defense here. You know what I mean? And once they're over and they're coming over the top, they're probably going to land on me. You know what I mean? So I got to be more bouncing, moving, kind of showing that angle. There's a lot of boxing, but it's crazy. The style is so much more longer and out here. You know what I mean? Rather than tight.
You're trying to create that bubble around yourself with your guard as opposed to being able to catch stuff directly.
I almost got to be able to catch and parry the whole time. You know what I mean? And then once in a while, once they're in, you got to kind of roll, but you can't play there. You know what I mean? You got to almost try to get out, circle out, and not let them try to cut you off. And then if you get stuck in the corners, well, I mean, it's triangle. It's tight fucking corners. I forget what the angle on it is, but it's definitely tight. You know what I mean? And what I can remember from triad, it's tough to get out of. You know what I mean? Especially when you got a guy on that's live and trying to bang you out. So my first fight, I can't really tell you much because I don't know who I'm fighting yet, but I can tell you that I'm going to come in there in the best shape, and I'm going to come in there with the best organized, plot to beat this guy and have the best style to do it. You know what I mean? I'm going to work around guys that are going to, craft me to be that kind of style, and I'm going to work around, brawlers. I'm going to work around boxers. I'm going to be working around a lot of different people that can help me create that blueprint to beat these guys. You know what I mean? And kind of give me that simulation of what it's going to be when I get in there on fight night.
Going back to Paulie for a minute, just being a New York guy too, he was somebody that we all kind of looked up to, especially like, during the Broadway boxing era. Like Paulie was kind of the first big star to come out of that. And I can't remember if I told you this before or not, but the first fight that I ever went to was Cotto Malignaggi. And
no way, dude.
That was the first fight I ever went to at Madison Square Garden, and Malignaggi gets his jaw broke in like the second or third round. And somehow I think won the last 3 rounds of the fight. Like it was, he
pulled off, still tried to go to the decision with a broken jaw.
Yeah, against one of the best punchers of the entire era. And one of the things about Paulie that always amazed me was there was always guys that had more natural ability, more power, certain athletic qualities. But Paulie was a guy that made the most of what he had, bro. And what he had was a good boxing IQ, and he had good feet. And that was
he could move his feet.
Yeah, he just maxed his talent out. And I think, especially for you, if you're able to talk to him and learn from him, like he's such a great example of maximizing what you have, because there's a talented guy. Like, he beat Zab Judah. You can't tell me Zab Judah is not way more fucking talented.
Zab Judah almost beat Floyd Mayweather. All right?
Zab Judah was way more naturally talented than Paulie, but Paulie had that discipline, that mental discipline that Zab didn't have, and you saw how that played out.
So he beat him at the end of Zab's career. Correct?
That I was also at that fight. I believe that was 2013. So it was towards the end of both of their careers, but they were both still relevant.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Paulie won the WBA title.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was the WBA champ at one point.
Yeah, listen, bro.
He was a world contender.
He was a fantastic fighter. The 2 fights with Juan Diaz, he was incredible in those fights. Probably won both of them. Also a guy that, got the short end of the cards a couple times. You could make an argument that the Broner fight was a draw. Like, the politics of boxing affected even him, and he was still able to stay relevant.
Whether that, yeah, and try to get past the whole political side of it.
Yeah,
because they kind of try to cash out on him too. They were trying to kind of, they didn't want him really in the limelight at one point.
I think he could have won 9 rounds against Broner, and they wouldn't have given him the fight. You know what I mean? Just because Broner,
it made a memorable moment when they were talking about the side chick at the end. That shit was hilarious. Shit was that's my side chick. Yeah, that shit was fucking hilarious.
It was pretty funny, dude.
No, but he's a character, and that's a bigger part of boxing too. Is like, he's likable because he's got that character. He's got charismatic. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just Paulie the boxer.
Oh,
it's
dude,
like,
the Brooklyn. He can't keep it in.
It's his talking. It's the lead up. He's good at selling shows. He's good at promoting shows. He's good. He's all around a charismatic fighter. You know what I mean? Like, he's that type of guy that brings the electricity to the fight. You know what I mean? The energy that people want. Broner does too, but Broner hasn't backed it up in a while. I think he just won his more recent fight on what's his name? Fucking
Don King, bro.
Don King show, yeah. Who else just won a WBC Farrakhan title on that? Bang Williams.
I saw that he had won a fight, and he hadn't fought in a really long time.
Hadn't fought since me. I had him fucking shell shocked. He was thinking. And I'm trying to come back for that too down the line. I want that WBC title. I can beat him at 135 all day. And I'm getting stronger and I'm getting faster. I'm a different fighter. I know he's probably a different fighter too, but you know what? I still feel like I've been staying busy, and I feel like I still beat him on that fight night. That if I wasn't in his backyard, like you said, the politics, I think I walked out of there. Now, did I take a knee because of a body shot? Yeah, he got me in the midsection, and I did take a knee. He gassed out. I outboxed him the rest of the fight. 5 rounds. Easy. Had his eye cut from here to here. You know what I mean?
Sometimes catching a body shot like that, it's literally just the difference of staying too long for half a second. Like, you get your combo and you get off on an angle, but I had good fighters.
I had the measurements figured out too, where I was taking the half step out and letting him walk in and catching him off the shoe shine. And then I took that half step in again. And, my coach at the time, Ray, was like, you have him hurt, you have him beat. And I felt that. And I thought maybe I could take him out. That's another part of me that I hate, but the fans love it. But it's like, I get greedy. I'm like, all right, I'll beat this motherfucker right here. You know what I mean? And then he just took that little half dip and touched me to the midsection. And motherfucker, he heard me go, oh. And then I was breathing out, and then he started digging. I was like, no. And as soon as he got me again, I fucking took the knee out. I was like, there's no, because he was about to jump. He was going to fucking eat me. You know what I mean? So and he's got that Giravante style. When he smells blood, he just starts letting his hands, and he's got a lot of power. I mean, that's the pedigree in him. So I took the knee, and I'm looking up, Sam Burgos, the Cuban referee from Miami. I'm looking up at him, and he's counting, and I'm like, don't stop this fight, motherfucker. Like, let me get back up. So as soon as he gets to 8, I get up, and I could tell he was like, he wasn't gonna count me out. You know what I mean? There was no way. He liked what he saw, and he had met me when I fought Aaron Aponte on the Canelo card, and I had said some words to him, and he's like, I'm about to stop this fight because you're being fresh. You're being fucking fresh. I was telling him, fuck you, and talking shit to him. And at the beginning of that fight with Bang, he comes up to me, he's like, let's be a gentleman tonight, all right? I'm like, yeah, sir. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. And when he's counting back to the body shot, and counting, I could tell he was like, I'm being good to you right now. I could easily just be like, because I'm the B side, you know what I mean? He could have just waved it off there. He liked what he saw. He gave me my fighting chance. And then at the end of the fight, he came up to me. He's like, Mr. Gigliotti, you've came a long way. From that Aponte fight to now, you came a long way. He's like, you should be very proud of yourself. And that wasn't his way of saying, like, you won the fight, but that was his way of saying, like, dude, you just came out here
growing as a fighter
territory and put on a fucking show. And yeah. He's like, you outclassed this kid, and this kid's supposed to be the big thing out here. You know what I mean? And I felt mad respect for that. And he does a lot of the BYB. He's like one of the main, because they do a lot. They're out of Miami. So next time I see him, I'm gonna be like, hey, listen, it ain't boxing, but I'm still here, baby. You know what I mean? Like, I can't wait to go up to him and shake his hand and be like, hey, this ain't boxing anymore, so show me some love. I'm the A side out here. You know what I mean? I'm the guy out here now. I can't wait to have that conversation with him though, and just be like, it has been a long time coming, and I haven't seen him since that fight. You know what I mean? Because I haven't been fighting out in Miami, so I can't wait to get a fight out in Miami, even if it's BYB, just to see. Say he's one of the biggest referees out there. I mean, he refereed the Logan Paul and Mayweather fight at the Garden that time. He was the guy. He was the referee in the ring. He's the small little Cuban guy. You've definitely seen him. But yeah, that's one of my favorite referees because of the Bang Lanes fight. I got mad respect for him now. You know what I mean? When in the Aponte fight, I was like, "Fuck you, get away from me," because Aponte had ripped that low blow on me. I was like, "I'll fucking cut your head off, buddy. Fuck you," talking mad shit. And he sat down. When I sat down on the stool, he came up to me. He's like, I'm gonna fucking disqualify you. I'm like, fuck you. I started swearing at him. And my fucking coach is like, what are you saying? No, don't say that to him. And then I slipped a little bit because Aponte landed like a little jab, and I like slipped. And he gave me an 8 count. I know for a fact if I wasn't being multi-dim, he probably wouldn't have gave me the 8 count. But I was like, I deserve that. You know what I mean? Like, and then I started headbutting a little bit because Aponte kept fucking doing a little. And as soon as I headbutted him once, fucking Burgos was like, I'm taking a point. I was like, he's going to do anything he can right now to make me look like an asshole. And I deserve that. You know what I mean? I was being a disrespectful little prick that night. But I had Aponte on me fucking ripping low blows. I've never been hitting the dick like that before, bro. It sucked. Like that. He purposely, because I got under one of his punches and I was going to fucking time a nice little check left and try to start working inside. And as soon as he saw me kind of take that step forward, he just whack, dude. He timed it. He knew what he was doing. Because all night he was going to that midsection. That one time he went he scooped my fucking cup, dude. That was one of the hardest low blows I've ever been hit with in my life. Hands down. Still to this day. Aaron Aponte ripped that fucking low blow. It sucked.
It's not fun.
No. I'd rather be hitting the fucking liver. Let's put it like that. Because then you gotta recover from it. You know what I mean? Which I did. Mike did hit me with the low blow that I had to recover from. By the way, they gave me a minute.
Yep.
They were gonna give me 5 minutes, but I wasn't gonna show that. I need 5 minutes. I probably should have done it because it would have gave me more time to be explosive and get that. But you know what? The fans wanted to see a good fight, and I'm not gonna.
Also gives him more time.
I gave them a good fight.
It also gives him more time to.
It also does give him more time. Which I think I'm scarier with more time recovery. I still feel like I was not afraid of his power. The only reason why I was afraid of his power is because of the body shot. You know what I mean? I felt vulnerable after the body shot. I felt like I was playing a little bit of I need to recover and I got to still be able to box here and not focusing on being able to time the power that I wanted to throw, with the right punches. Where he could have just gone off with whatever he wanted because he felt confident. You know what I mean? And once you take a man's confidence away, which he thought he had, it makes him a dangerous fighter. It makes me a dangerous fighter because I'm hurt and I'm vulnerable. You know what I mean? So that's what made it such a beautiful fight. I think at the end is because you got vulnerable me that doesn't want to get fucking put down with another body shot. So I'm playing smart defensively and I'm still trying to give you everything I got here. and then you got him smelling a wounded fucking deer. And he's feeling like a tiger right now, trying to pounce on him. So then we both just started fucking going. You know what I mean? Which that made the fans fucking go crazy. From like the 8th round, it was just like bum, 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 bum. And then still step out, quick breather, and then right back in the pocket. Both of us just bum, 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 just fucking landing big shots. And I that was one of my favorite rounds I've ever had in any fight I've ever had. That was one of my favorite rounds right there. That 8th round because we just put it all on the line. We put everything, the grit, the glory of being there, and even trying to get that one up on each other. You know what I mean? Like that, showing that even if I felt in the back of my head, all right, maybe you got the better of me this fight because of that body shot. I'm not fucking going down, buddy. I'm gonna give you everything. I'm gonna try and stop you right here. And I tried to show him that. You know what I mean? I went out with everything to try and show him that if we are to fight again, this is the same Harry, but even better next time. You know what I mean? This 8th round, I hope you remember this because I'm gonna try and do this all fucking 8 rounds next time. I'm gonna try and show you. I'm gonna outdog you every time now after this fight. I don't care if it goes into a trilogy. I'll beat him the next 2 fights. I believe it, and I'm manifesting it already. You know what I mean? I'm putting that in my head that if he ever wanted the rematch, then I'm full on for it, and I'm confident I beat him the next 2 times.
So September 16th, you're coming back. I've been off the air for about 6 weeks, and I've missed some pretty major fights. You got another couple minutes to run through some of these bangers we've had the last month or so?
Yeah, bro, of course.
There's been some fights. The first one that for me that stood out was Naoya Inoue moving up from 118 to 122 and completely dominating the best fighter at that division, Stephen Fulton. I think there's an argument at this point that Inoue is the best guy in the world, but what was your take on that? Seeing such a small guy.
I watched that at work, bro. Because I was getting laid off, so I was like, I don't care what happens today. I'm just gonna, I watched in the back room. Dude, that dude has too much power for that weight class. I think he could go up and still dominate right now. I mean, I don't see a reason for a rematch. Let's put it like that. I'm not saying Fulton isn't a great fighter, but I mean, that was just like the level of like from here to here. It was like, wow, it was a landslide. I mean, it's the same thing though. When you kind of, what you see with Bud Crawford and Earl Spence, I don't see a reason for a rematch in that fight either. You know what I mean? When you see dominant performance like that, it's just there's no need for it. It's already been proven. So either you need to take a step down and go to a weight class below, or you got to go up. And I think Inoue could go. I think he could go up and see what's next in his career, or he could defend the belt here. We'll defend the belts here one more time, and then
that's what's so tricky,
go from there.
Though,
but
it's like
who really.
What makes it so tricky is he moves up a weight class, and it's not like he beat some guy. He beat by far the best guy in the weight class. So it's like the only choice really is to move up to 126. And there's some great fights for him there. The fight that I would really like to see is Inoue versus Reyes Ramirez. I don't know how much of Reyes you've been able to watch.
Reyes Ramirez, I mean, he knocked out Abraham Supernova. I mean, he's an isn't he an Olympic gold medalist too? That kid's the best Cuban out there.
Yeah.
Right now, hands down, the fastest hand. He's a southpaw too, isn't he?
Yep.
He's unorthodox, isn't he? Yeah,
he's extremely
back and
talented.
Forth. You know what? That guy doesn't get enough recognition. He doesn't, and that kid is fucking nasty. Nasty.
I think it's
the Cubans right now are dictating the game a little bit.
I think it's entirely possible that Robeisy is the best guy at 126 right now. And I think it's just a matter of him getting the big fights. I think he's starting to. But a guy like him and then a guy like Andy Cruz, bro, I don't know if you got to see Andy Cruz's pro debut, but he's fucking unbelievable.
I haven't. I gotta look into him. I did watch the last fight with Oscar Valdez, and I broke that down. I mean, Oscar Valdez looked good, but I felt like, he tried to make it a dogfight way too much when the other guy was taking that half step out. I'm not even familiar with who the other guy is, but the other guy was phenomenal, dude.
Emmanuel Navarette.
The amount of respect for that fight. Yeah, that dude is fucking. I'm a fan now. I didn't even know his name. You know what I mean? Just watching him fight like that was amazing. And how he put the cowboy hat on Oscar's head after, the amount of respect, the humbleness. That's a people's champ. You know what I mean? That's not just the champ. That's a people's champ when you get to that point. He's creating he's creating a good stigma for himself, and he's showing that this is why he's a champion. It's beyond just being a great fighter. He's a people's fighter. You know what I mean? So that guy's a fucking problem. I don't know how Inoue would do with that guy. Let's put it like that. He's big too for the weight class.
Dude, the thing about Navarette, right, is he's one of those guys, like if you were teaching a young guy how to fight, there's a lot of shit he does that you tell them not to do, but he's just got shit that you can't teach. Like his timing.
He's evolved his own style, crafted his own style. Totally. Basics. Yeah.
So all of the shit that you try, it's like, how do you even prepare for that? Because there's no way you could find sparring that replicates a guy who throws like a uppercut from halfway across the ring, but he can land it. Like
get down and shoot it.
Yeah, bro. He's like the fucking Kevin Durant hop step. Like he's one step from the 3-point line and he's dunking.
What do you think Ennis fighting that drunken master style a little bit, going slow motion with punches?
Yeah, bro. I think that Boots Ennis is one of the most offensively gifted guys in all of boxing right now. And I think he showed that against Villa, because Villa is a fucking powerhouse. Right. I think the only question is he going to have the ring IQ and the ring intelligence to hang with a guy like Terrence Crawford? But outside of that, it feels like he's going to do that to pretty much anybody that they put him in with.
Right. So you think he can just mix it up on anybody like that and kind of throw them off with the whole drunken master style of boxing right now?
Bro, I mean, listen, there's times
he literally made that shit like the Matrix. He slowed down time. Like the way he landed that little 90 uppercut, it was like, what the fuck?
He has little flashes of Roy Jones. Like, it's not the exact same thing.
Little stuff like that and twist it up and make it look fancy. Yeah.
Or there's even times when he's throwing those little combination flurries where I'm like, no one can really do that other than Roy.
I mean, Roy was one of the I'd say, greatest of our generation at one point, right?
Dude, I mean, he's the best guy that's been around since I was alive.
If I'm correct, he went in boxing. I mean, well, he just boxed recently against Anthony Pettis. I know he lost. That wasn't really. I don't put that on his credential though. But he boxed. He was boxing in the top. Like who was one of the last people he fought? He didn't fight Joe Smith Jr. That was Bernard Hopkins, right?
Yeah, I mean, God, it's one of those, like, as a fan
he stepped up and fought for a belt like near his late 40s, right?
Yeah, he did. The problem with Roy was always just like, you look at the first 25 years of his career and he's this like freak of nature, and in literally now for almost 20 years he's been like a past his prime guy, and it's been this gradual decline, and as a fan of his, it's very difficult to watch.
Yeah, because it's not who he used to be. But I mean, age has a number, and for him to still get in there, I feel like he'll never really fully close up, boxing as a part of his life. I mean, he just did the metaverse. I mean, that was a bit of an embarrassment, but I think it's fun that he's still in the limelight. I think it's cool that he's still even doing exhibitions with Mike and stuff. And I mean, he fought Anthony Pettis. I mean, that was cool. That was on Game Bread. That's Jorge Masvidal's promotion. But
I have less of an issue with the older fighters doing exhibitions as I
rather
do
than actually putting it on their resume. Yeah,
I have a hard time with that, because it's like I get if you want to get out there and like spar for the public, there's really like kind of limited danger in that. But then when you start, or if you're doing it with guys your own age, like Roy and Mike did, but when you start getting into that, like, a Vander Holyfield thing where you're trying to get back in at almost 60 and you get knocked out in a round, like that's tough to watch.
Yeah, Vander Holyfield thing, I saw that live. I was there. I fought Bang Williams the day before that, so I was out in the Miami area. That sucked to watch. That really, and that was an exhibition, but Vitor Belfort was not there to fucking make it an exhibition. He was there to knock him out. I mean, that was like, you have Donald Trump up there in the stands. You got all these people there. People want to see someone get knocked the fuck out. That's boxing. We know that. And you got to roid it out Vitor Belfort and an old fucking Evander Holyfield. I mean, it's not going to be a pretty sight. You know what I mean? I knew that as soon as I saw them get in the ring, I was like, this isn't an exhibition match. He's going to try and fucking knock him out. And Evander was trying to give it to him at first, but you could just see the old age had caught him up. I mean, he's fucking in his late 60s now. I mean, that's inevitable. I mean, it's just life.
And listen, he's in incredible shape for a guy his age, but as far as getting in the ring and doing combat, like that's a whole different thing.
fighting a guy almost 20 years younger than him, fully loaded up on HGH and whatever else he's on. I mean,
Yeah.
probably not going to be. I mean, he's going to be able to blow him over. You know what I mean? I hate to say it. It only took like one little push right hand to fucking even send him flying across the ring. You know what I mean? It just the age, the strength, the number. I mean, it all plays a role, obviously, in your career. You know what I mean? That's why when people say Father Time's kicking, it's like that's why I'm taking my risk. I'm going to go to bare knuckle. I'm still going to take boxing matches, but I'm going to try and get I'm going to build my way up the fastest way and get enough content and create enough publicity and enough a big enough name where I can, put myself on bigger platforms. That's essentially what I want to do. I almost want to skip the line. You know what I mean? I tried doing it in boxing by fighting a Ponte. I've taken my risk. I fought Tiger Johnson. I still feel like I can hang with people at that level with the Ponte. Maybe not Tiger right now, but I could work my way back to that. It's just why not try something else right now to skip the line? You know what I mean? I want to build enough content where people know who I am and I'm getting paid off my name and off the limelight rather than just Harry the Boxer, that it's taking club show losses, you know what I mean, here and there. I don't want to do that. I will build myself back up in boxing and I plan to do that. But like I said, Father Time's ticking. I'm 28 years old. Soon I'll be 29. I want to try and get my way to the top the fastest way and build enough content where I feel like people will realize and watch me and enjoy the entertainment side of my fighting rather than just Harry the Boxer. You know what I mean?
Well, and you're literally in your physical prime right now. So why not take those risks?
I'm showing that, like, my frame's getting stronger, everything. Like, I'm working my ass off to keep this, and I want to make sure that I look good doing it. I want to make the fan. I want to attract the fans. I want to pull them in and be like, this kid fucking works his ass off, and he's a good fighter. Let's see what he can do in this bare knuckle game now. You know what I mean? Like, let's see. I want to be a versatile fighter. I want people to realize that, like, I'm an entertainer. I'm also a fighter. I mean, yeah, they go hand in hand. People want to see that. I'm a prize fighter. And that's why I said, like, I agree with the MVP boxing. I mean, they just had a card last night at Caribbean Royal. I mean, I believe it was on DAZN. That kid Elijah Williams that called me out just got beat. Remember that kid? I put on, the New York kid.
I do remember that. Yeah.
You watching it? You watched the fight last night?
No. I don't really follow the influencer boxing as much.
No, he's not an influencer boxer. He's a real boxer, but what it is, MVP is just Jake and Manny Serrano just put together their own promotion. They essentially are kind of doing what, they're signing guys that aren't really in that prospect limelight of, like, okay, I did this since I was fucking 8 years old and had my, spoon fed, my ass wiped all the way from the fucking Colorado Olympic Commission, trying to, build them up, these prospects. They're giving these fighters opportunities. And, Kingpin and Misfit Boxing, they're doing that too. I mean, I don't like all the content creating shit, but I mean, some of these guys are real fighters that just haven't got their name out there and haven't had the right platform to sell them and market them in the right way. I feel like this will, even with BYB, with me fighting in the bare knuckle, it puts me on the right path and directs me towards the number one goal. People knowing who I am and making the right amount of money because I have the content to back that up.
I don't know if you ever got to watch it, but I had put out like an episode of The Fight Life for ITRBoxing, and one of the subjects of it was this girl Shadasia Green, who was on Jake's undercard. She's now signed to MVP. Incredible fucking talent, bro. Just right down the street, maybe 10 miles from me in Paterson, New Jersey. She's honestly one of the best fighters in all of boxing. I'm doing a shameless plug right now, but I'm also telling you about it.
No. Yo, talk your shit, bro. This is I like this. And listen, she should be heard. If she's that good, then why don't people fucking know her? You know what I mean?
I'm gonna be real. I believe she's the best female fighter that I've ever seen. Honestly.
Really, for real.
I really believe that.
That's big.
Yeah, and seeing her in the gym.
I know you don't talk. I know that you're for real. Like, you're a boxing guru. Like I've said it in the past. You know your shit about boxing. So if you're saying it, I believe it. I do. I believe that this girl might be the fucking big thing that nobody knows about yet. That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing that you saw at the beginning of what she's about to become. You know what I mean? Like, that's sick.
She's going to be an undisputed champion within the year. I'm very confident of that. I'll send you the link for that later.
What weight class?
She's a super middleweight.
Okay. Wow, bro. Wow.
She's big. She's
What?
like 5'8",
What's
5'9".
Clarissa? Clarissa's welterweight, super welterweight, right?
Clarissa's actually, I think, at middleweight now. So they're only 8 pounds off.
Might
And
be a super fight down the line for her, eh?
the fight. So at the moment, the fight I don't know if you saw, but Savannah Marshall became undisputed at 168. It looks like she's gonna fight Shadasia.
That's
So
awesome.
that would be incredible. I really hope that happens.
Women's boxing, man. I don't want to say like it's all because of Amanda Serrano, but she marketed it the right way. And honestly, they've created a platform for these women boxers, and they're fucking amazing. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah.
Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, that fight was amazing. The chick from Brooklyn that just fought, Heather, what's her name?
Heather Hardy, legend.
Obviously, it was a tough fight to watch because she wasn't winning the fight. But man, the grit, the fucking way she bit down and just never had 1 ounce of fucking quitting her, that was amazing to watch, bro. And that was sick that Amanda Serrano put her onto that because they're friends and like got her last big payday and her biggest showing probably ever to date. It's like, that's what boxing should be. Like, this is real prize fighting here, Ricky. Like, this girl has put her fucking life on the line all these years. People didn't really even know who she was. And now she's like, dude, everyone's talking about how she's this badass chick that never fucking will take a fucking knee. You know what I mean? Like, she built her recognition off probably her last fight. I mean, and
bro,
that's
and
like,
particularly out here, both of those women, Amanda Serrano and Heather Hardy, have paved a lot of way, not just for female fighters, but for New York fighters as a whole to really get put on.
she trains at a Gleason's, right?
Yeah, she's been there for a long time. I remember
you used to pop in and out of there as a kid, right?
I went to Gleason's a handful of times. That was never like a spot for me though. But I've been in there a couple of times, and she's been there forever, man. She's Heather Hardy's a staple of Gleason's. Right. She's probably going to be wrapping it up here soon. I know she's like 42, 43 years old.
That's no big deal though. I mean, she's done everything she needed to do in life. I mean, especially in boxing wise, you know what I mean? So
it was really cool too, because her fight before, I covered that. It was like a club show in New York. So I interviewed her after the fight, and she told me, she was like, I'm really hoping that, Amanda will give me a title shot, and I can kind of do that before I wrap my career up and get one more go at it. So, which was wild. And then it wound up actually happening. So it wasn't just like she was saying it, like
she manifested it.
Yeah. She manifested it, and it was already in the works. Like, it was a matter of, look, you win this fight, and we'll have, because it was a rematch. They fought 5 years ago, so this was
they were considering her as a potential contender for that fight.
Totally.
Yeah.
Let's jump to Spence Crawford real quick, because like I said before,
I didn't think it was gonna go like that, buddy. I'm gonna be real.
No, and to all the viewers who are like, why is Dakota talking about all these old fights? I haven't been on in a couple weeks, as I've said, so there's shit that I haven't gotten to talk about on air, and this is one of them. Like you said, Harry, I never saw that fight going that way, and I've watched a lot of fights. I thought that it was going to be competitive.
Dude, it wasn't competitive in the fucking littlest bit.
Nah, man.
I'm not taking that from Earl. That can be two ways. Earl didn't really put the work in, but something tells me he did, or Crawford's really that much levels ahead. You know what I mean? Like, and at that point, we do want to see a Canelo fight. I mean, we want him to be tested. He wants to be tested. So it's like, I don't know, man. That was a fucking obliteration. That's all I know. And when Earl was kind of shaking his head like that at the ref, I was like, it's a good stoppage, brother. Trust me. He's not hurting you here. Like, you just got battered a little bit. I mean, he was on Bambi legs, and he looked like he was on Queer Street a little bit. He didn't really, and he looked like he wanted to be there, but it was because of the heart. You know what I mean? It was because he didn't want to go out as, I just got stopped by Bud Crawford. But
I'm sure in his mind that was so not even an option.
Yeah, and it was like, no, he would have died there. He would have. He would have died by a shield. Yeah.
I think one of the most there was the obvious, right? Like, Terrence was amazing. He boxed a perfect fight. What really blew my mind about that fight was
his guard, though. His bone density is so strong that, like, his guard, how he rolls, catches, and shoots. He doesn't even have to really do a lot of movement to catch the shots. It seems like he kind of just walked through it and like threw a little shoulder check on it sometimes. Or he did do like a tight high guard up here. And if you notice, he stretched his fingers out because he made sure that his glove was protecting like his upper temple and his jawline. But he would just do a light roll and then kind of pump the jab, to maneuver and get out. But it was like he was so defensively sound. It was like, I don't know, man. It didn't look like he belonged in that weight class. It looked like he looked like a weight bully. Yeah, he looked like a weight bully.
He has some of the best reflexes in all of boxing. And there were times, because unfortunately I didn't get to watch it live, so I watched it after the fact. And dude, there was times where Errol would land huge shots and they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And it didn't do anything.
It had no effect. It had
none.
Yeah. He was doing a lot of the touch low to get back up top, and like once in a while would land like a nice, slick right hand or just to like,
hard body shots.
Set something up. Yeah, he was landing beautiful body shots.
Errol was landing hard body shots and they didn't do anything.
And coming over the top beautifully, but it just wasn't breaking him. It wasn't even really affecting him in the slightest bit physically. I don't know how mentally, but it seemed like the presence of Bud Crawford was exhausting for Earl just to have him on him like that. You know what I mean? Like just having him, like hunting him down like that. It seemed like it took a toll on Earl. It wasn't just the physical, I'm getting beat up. It was that mental aspect of I'm plotting on you and walking you down and, hunting you right now. And you have nothing to answer for. It's intimidating. And I guarantee you, in Earl's head, he probably was even at one point like, what the fuck? Like, I'm sure he was definitely getting frustrated. He looked frustrated.
Well, and every time Terrence landed clean, it had a lot of impact on Errol. The difference in punch resistance and power was crazy.
His face was bright cherry red, and there was, blood stained across his face. He was wearing a crimson mask. He really was. He was the definition of where they said that about me, but he was really wearing a fucking crimson mask.
That's about as bad as it gets when I saw him after the fight.
When I say your hamburger, that means you got beat. I mean, your face got. There wasn't much more punishment it could take. It expressed exactly what it's taking. You know what I mean? He was taking full punishment. I mean, hats off to the ref for letting it go for as long as he did. It could have been stopped a round shorter or two. It could have been. Yep. I wouldn't have been. But I mean, hey, when those championship fights, you do want to let the champion go on. You want to see what he can do, and you want to make it exciting. But it wasn't really that exciting. So I mean, the last little, what was it? He cut him off an uppercut to send him wobbling back like that. That was it. I mean, that was like, there's not even. Why make this guy punish him any longer? You know what I mean? I feel like there was a point where Bub was even looking at the ref going like,
well, and then at what point does the corner become a factor in that? At what point does Derek James?
I don't think Derek James would have thrown the towel in. I don't think they would have. That's their glory boy over there. That's that's the pride of their gym. I mean, Frank Martin's great, but that's not their lead stablemate. It's Earl. I mean, Earl's the face of their gym. I mean, he's their Olympian. He's their guy. I mean, and now look at the team they've assembled. I mean, they got Garcia over there. They got Anthony Joshua. Derek James is doing a phenomenal job.
Jamal
Charlo. I mean, both the Charlo brothers, aren't they both there?
Jamal's retired as far as I'm concerned, but
he's done, right?
Pretty much. I mean, it's been over 2 years since he's fought.
He went to a draw with Castano, right?
That was Jamal.
That was Jamal. Okay, Jamal's fighting Canelo. I'm excited for it. Yeah. Yes. I get mixed up with both the brothers, but
it's tough. They're one letter off.
He was Jamal was a welterweight.
No, Jamal's the bigger one. Jamal was at middleweight.
Okay, so Jamal's a super welterweight. Okay, all right, yeah. I mean, yeah, man. I don't know. There's a lot of big fights to be made out of that weight class, though. I mean, even if it's Bud, I feel like Bud winner takes all. You know what I mean? Let's see what Bud can do.
It won't happen, but I would like to see him and Boots fight before Terrence moves up to another weight class.
Well, that's what it comes down to. It's either Boots or it's Virgil Ortiz at this point, right? I mean, like who? And Virgil's not really I don't think he's a marketable fighter enough where they try to even sell that. I don't think they'd even try to make that a thing.
They almost killed him making welterweight, bro.
Oh, he fucking sucked down, right? All the water out.
Dude, they had to cancel the Stanionis fight.
Really?
and he got put in the hospital. He has this like weird kidney disorder from cutting weight too hard, and he's been put in
My
the hospital.
I got my blood work back. They said my liver, I mean my kidney was working a little bit too much, and they told me that go drink some water, take some vitamin D, all this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I mean I'm cutting weight right now, so I really can't do that. But I mean, dude, it takes a toll on your fucking body. People don't understand that. Like the weight cut, like if this is why they shouldn't allow weight bullying in boxing. It's because then people are forced to go down like two weight classes to try and yeah, it's like they gotta they gotta do something about it. They really do because it is becoming a problem. I'm sure Garcia it took a toll on his body with not being able to hydrate after the weight
Totally.
clause. Yeah, the hydration clause. I'm sure that fucked his body up, guaranteed. And I'm sure that had something to do with the body shot. Like I'm sure he couldn't take the body shot the same way if he was hydrated and had a little bit more cushion around that fucking liver. You know what I mean? I'm sure when you don't have the water, it sucks your all. It's just your muscles and your skin and your bone. You know what I mean? Just that's why you look so ripped. Is because you literally have no water in your body. You have nothing in your body to even really cushion. You know what I mean? It's not. It's just you've sucked down to absolute zero, pretty much. Like my last water
Imagine
weight,
doing that.
I could have
Imagine
went.
doing that and then going over the line and being in the hospital from it, and then doing that twice and then not moving up in weight. Like the kid's got to move up.
Yeah, he's got to move up. I mean, that's what his body is telling him right now.
Yeah, it's
When you can't,
screaming.
when you can't, it's screaming it. Yeah, when your brain can't keep you up, it's because it doesn't have enough oxygen to it, which is because of hydration. You know what I mean? It's like, and a lot like I've seen it happen at people on the way, and they flex and they're like, whoa, and it's like, yeah, bro, why are you flexing after you just cut all that weight? You got no sugar in your body. You got no fucking hydration. Your body is lacking all vitamins. Like you're sitting there flexing as hard as you can, and then you'll see like I think it happened to Rashid Ellis. Rashid went like did his little flex on the scale and collapsed, and that was that. I
Jesus,
mean, the
bro.
fight was canceled. I mean, that's the problem with this weight cutting shit is it takes a fucking toll on your brain, it takes a toll on your kidneys, and it takes a toll on your liver, bro. It really does.
And
And
then at
that's
what point is it helping your performance if you're doing it because you want to be the bigger guy, but then you
well,
remove all of your
that's why
explosiveness?
I saw what Regis Progress does, and I've done it before. I did it for the Aponte fight. I got up at 5 a.m. and laid in a fucking hot bathtub with rubbing alcohol and fucking. This is an old fucking cut trait. It's an old fucking secret. Um, it's called the crash cut. It means that you fucked up. It means that you're trying to squeeze whatever you can squeeze out at the last fucking couple minutes. You know what I mean? But yeah, you're spitting in a water bottle with a fucking hot bathtub of rubbing alcohol and fucking bath salt, Epsom salt, and you're laying in this fucking tub and you keep getting out and rubbing down and stepping on the scale, hoping that you just squeeze out a couple more pounds. Now, you got to do this for like 2 hours. So it's by the first hour, your muscles are cramping, you're pulling everything out as much as you can, and you're spitting, your mouth's dry, and you're feeling like you're ready to seize the fuck out. I mean, I was sitting there like, and I'm like wiping down and getting back on the scale, and then realizing I got to go back in this fucking hot rubbing alcohol fucking tub that's drying my skin out, and it's like it means you fucked up. And I saw Regis Progress doing it, and I was like, yeah, this guy is probably walking around at like 160 and then trying to cut these 20, 30 pounds he's got to cut and shed it off as fast as he can, and he's probably realistically the night before weigh-ins like 3 or 4 pounds off, and they're like, oh, we don't want to go on a run right now, we want to keep your legs rested. All right, we don't want to over pull water from the sauna and then you're over cutting weight, so they'll keep going back into the bathtub, hopping out, stepping on the scale, wiping down, and doing it all over, because that's essentially the best way of doing it if you want to like be a 0.1 under or a 0.1 off and being pretty close to weight. But what it does is it drains your body. It drains your body of all the natural nutrients and vitamins that you need. I mean, so your body, your liver's fucking functioning weird. And that's a big part of, now your lungs are probably compensating. Now all your organs are starting to kind of, lack that missing leg to hold you up. So they're all compensating for something. This is all, probably going to take a toll during the fight. Yeah, realistically. I mean, it's just like you can hydrate. You can even do the fucking IV. I mean, I know that's illegal. I know water, but people do it. I mean, it's a fact. You're still probably not 100% when you get into the ring. You're
Right.
probably no.
You only have one day. That I think that's part of why I tend
Well,
to
well,
favor same day weigh-ins.
it's same day weigh-in.
I think that's much healthier because it doesn't honestly it makes it harder for you guys to do these massive weight cuts because then I have a day to put on 20 pounds. Like I feel like guys will fight in their more natural weight class if they have to weigh in that day and perform.
Let's put it like this: I weighed 139.6 for Ohan. He weighed 139.4. When I went home and I rehydrated and ate a bunch of food, I stepped on the scale back at 154. So I was like full weight bully. Yeah, like full weight bully. And I did it all the right way. I portioned all the food, like red meats, carbohydrates, everything I wanted to do to, get some stuff, get that bulk back in my body. You know what I mean? And dude, on the day of fight night, my pecs were fully fucking showing again. My ass, like I look back, I look like I didn't even cut a fucking pound. You know what I mean? Like I I don't know how it would affect me at 135. I've made 135 in the past when I fought Bang Williams, but I mean, 2 years makes a big difference. As you're saying, I'm hitting my prime, my muscle mass is growing, my bone density, I'm getting stronger. I don't know what that does when you have to get to 130. I've thought about it, like, okay, maybe I might want to try 135 one more time. I guarantee you, because I tell you what, 140 doesn't feel great. It does not. Like, I'm still sitting there in the sauna trying to get the last couple pounds off, like, not fucking happy with my life. Like, I'm sitting there, like, pretty miserable. And, like, Gabby would be there with me for most of my cuts. And, like, he knows, dude. Like, we're both sitting there, like, and he's
Bro,
got
I
a cut.
remember when he made 130 and I talked to him and I could tell he was hurting.
Dude, I don't think he wants to do that ever again. Let's put it like
He
that.
shouldn't.
No, I think he's gonna stay at 135 and I'm gonna stay at 140. But I have made 135 before. I just don't know if it. I don't know what it would do to me if I did it for 5
Do you
fights in a
feel like
row.
it would? Do you feel like it would up your performance or explosiveness in any way to fight at welterweight?
This is the problem. Styles make fights. I like smaller guys because I can out jab them all fucking day and I don't take that much punishment. Like with Bang, okay, I'm gonna have to weather his little crazy fucking storm, and he can, he's a good plotter. He moves really low and comes up top with big shots, but he can only do that for so long, and then it's just gonna be my jab in his face all night. I like to slow down these small little brolic plotters and try to box their fucking head off rather than try and box a guy just as long as me that can do that same fucking style all night. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really work to my benefit fighting at 140 because everybody's my height. And so it's like, this takes away from my style. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to, I can out jab a boxer, but it's easier to outbox a smaller boxer that can't reach. You know what I mean? Like I just pop, 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 and then I'm out. I can put my punches together. You know what I mean? Where I feel like I almost have to be more of a plotter brawler when I fight these taller guys because I don't want to say it takes away from my jab, but I can't use it the same way. I can't, someone's going to start timing it at some point. You know what I mean? It's not going to be there all fucking night. And with the smaller weight classes, I feel like I could double, triple it and step out and, create that distance that it's hard to break on a taller man, especially when they know how to use their distance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I just feel like it defeats 140 defeats it takes away my strategy. It takes away what I've worked for when it comes to trying to be a boxer rather than a brawler. I feel like I get dragged into these more brawlic fights like with Tiger Johnson or Aaron Aponte or Mike Ohen
because there isn't a physical advantage,
size advantage, as well as maybe they're not taller than me, but they're niching. I mean, we're there. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know. It's just I feel like I have a beautiful jab, but it's easier to use it and infiltrate that style when I'm fighting a smaller man.
Well, it's like you're either using it to box from the outside or you're using it to close range. But your instinct,
bang.
But your instinct is to use it from the outside.
I don't want to be a banger. I mean, I can, and it's exciting. Is it fun? Yeah, it's fun, but I don't want to lose, and it makes the fight a lot closer and a lot riskier. I mean, we know that. And I'm not a knockout puncher, so it's like I don't have a lot of knockout power.
Do you feel like you'd hit harder at welterweight though?
I mean, I fought Higgins at welterweight, and I was turning his fucking head, and he's a tough little prick.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like sometimes, so this is a cool lesson that I learned.
It's weird because the 140s with the super welterweights, they're all lanky and tall and long. As you get to welterweight, they're kind of small, scruffy, and rough, like brawling. So it's like weird. It's almost like I'm stuck between, do I fight the stronger, smaller guys that are like the same size as like the 135s, but they're not as tall? Or do I stay at 140 and kind of fight these lankier, taller, boxer punchers? You know what I mean? Like it's like
Welterweight I've always looked at welterweight as like the halfway point between like minimum weight and heavyweight. It's like the first weight class where you're starting to get in there with some bigger boys.
there's
You
like
know what I'm
such
saying?
a diverse,
Yeah,
different body tone and reach, and welterweight is that midway point. I mean,
it is.
essentially they say middleweight, but I think it's welterweight. I think welterweight's that it's like, okay, this is the line between fast, strong, long. You know what I mean? Like it's just every style collabed into one big one weight class. You know what I mean? That's why welterweight though for years was kind of a for especially the generation below us. I mean, above us, they were kind of they kind of grew up on that welterweight, weight class with Manny Pacquiao and Oscar De La Hoya and all those guys that kind of,
That was my era.
yeah. I mean that is, as I kind of look at my era right now. I hate to say it, like it's kind of the Ryan Garcia era right now, and it is. This is what I've kind of, but I grew up on both of that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm growing up in this new day era, and I've seen the old guys kind of cash out. And that was sick to do, like be able to kind of see everything evolve the way it is. You know what I mean? Welterweight now is lightweight. I mean, like that's what people want to see, the lightweights. You know what I mean? The lightweight, super lightweight. But welterweight's making a name for itself again. Like you said, Bud Crawford kind of just came out of the cut and attracted a whole new fucking fan group. You know what I mean? All these people are coming in now. And not saying that like people like me and you knew who Bud Crawford were, but a lot of, if I ask my friends, they're like, dude, that dude is nasty. I'm like, and you probably didn't even know who he was before that
Yeah,
fight.
and we're like, no shit, he's that we know
Yeah.
we know.
Like he's been trying to get out of fucking Bob Arum's curse for fucking years, trying to fucking, get this recognition that he was gonna, that he always saw. Like he knew he was great. And it's like, it's amazing to see that he's now kind of dictating the game for the welterweights. I mean, he's kind of the guy in charge. I mean,
He's the pound for pound best fighter in boxing.
In the world right now.
100%. There's really no debate.
Not really any debate. Yeah.
The only debate is Inoue or Bivol, but at the moment, for me, the Spence win was so dominant and so significant that it's hard for me to put anybody.
I want to see Bivol and better beef. I mean,
I know
that's the only way you can say he's that great. I mean, like he did beat Canelo, but Canelo kind of came up in weight. Let's see someone that's more, brawlic, tough, and naturally at your weight. I mean, I want to see something like that. I do.
I want to just close the weight conversation with one quick story. I remember maybe a year ago or so, I was covering a fight in California, and it was between Mercito Hesta and Joel Diaz. And Joel was a lot younger and a lot bigger, but when I saw them training in person, I was at the media workout filming them. I could see that Mercito was not drained at all. He was very explosive. He had a lot of snap on his shots. And I could see that Joel, though a lot bigger, was extremely drained and was struggling to put his combinations together and didn't look like he had that flow. And then come fight night, Mercito is much smaller, but his explosiveness, he drops Joel a couple of times and winds up winning a very wide decision. So in my mind, I'm looking, all right, this guy's 35, this guy's like 28, but the one guy's smaller and not draining himself. And and even if he's smaller, he's so much more explosive that he's able to win the fight. So in my mind, I always looked at that as like maybe there's something to not cutting as much weight. Like this guy's 35 years old and he's as good as he's ever been. You know what I mean? Like there's something
so you think the weight cut almost gives you a disadvantage in a way, right?
I do. And I think you have to be very talented to avoid some of that. But like Manny Pacquiao was never cutting weight. Floyd Mayweather was never cutting weight. Canelo's never cutting weight. He fights where he feels comfortable. Now, you have to have the talent to do that, but I think there's a middle ground.
I mean, boxing never really was a sport where you cut a lot of weight. That's normally MMA and wrestling. I mean, that's like, so I feel like the weight bullying shit is more kind of the new era of boxing, right? That's kind of where it's led to. Keith Thurman, all those guys were the generation that kind of started the major weight cuts and stuff like that.
And I even before that, like, dude, Antonio Margarito, like big welterweights like that, those guys used to be like 190 pounds. walking
Yeah.
around, you know.
Wait, so so Margarito and them started cutting weight and shit, right? Because he fought
Dude,
Walter, didn't he?
yeah, and those guys were all like 6'1". It like
Yeah.
didn't even make sense that they, you know, like it's silly.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like when I go to 135, I'm 5'9", 5'10". I'm 5'10", 5'9" and a half, 5'10". When I go in there, they're like all like they're like 5'7", 5'8". You know what I mean? So I'm like looking at them like this is kind of where I want to be, only because it's like, well, now I got the advantage. Now I really can, infiltrate my style and work the distance and create that distance. Um, but I don't know. I would I be stronger at welterweight? I mean, I haven't fought at welterweight since Brandon Higgins, and Brandon Higgins is I hate to say it, is a mid opponent. Like he's just very mid. He's not really anything too crazy. It's a test. It's a good test, but I want to. I don't know. I haven't really felt like I'm stylistically so much better than I was when I fought Brandon Higgins. That was like almost 3 years ago. You know what I mean? I've came a long way from that. I put my punches together, my combos together, and
It
I've
might be
struck
worth
hard.
thinking about, bro, because you've developed as a fighter, you know, as men, late 20s, early 30s, you start to grow. Like it might benefit you to move up and you have the frame.
It I wouldn't hurt at this point to try and see. I mean, I fought
And
140.
maybe do it in a fight where it's not like a do or die fight for you. You know
No,
what I
no, no, no,
mean?
no. I'm talking like someone that's kind of on their way out. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to pick up. I don't want to beat up on some fucking tomato.
Take a fight
Yeah,
to see how your body feels, not where you have to fight for your life. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. I want to make sure like I feel comfortable if that's the case. You know what I mean? Like even if it's some journeyman, Mexican or Argentinian that wants to come in that has a decent record that would give me a fight. But I know that I'll still be able to dictate the pace and hold the decision off. I also look when I go on BoxRec and I'm studying opponents, especially if I know it's just like a quick catch. Um, I'll look to see how many times I've knocked people out because you're like, all right, well, this guy's got some fucking raw power. And then you got to see who he knocked out. If you're seeing a guy that he knocked out that was like 5-1 that had never been knocked out before, and you're like, all right, well, he can knock people out and he's got the power. I won't go and look for that type of opponent right off the rip. You know what I mean? Like that's a test that okay, so we're getting into a heavier puncher in like 2 or 3 fights. I'm gonna take a guy that is beatable but can possibly hurt me. I got to be able to test whether the storm and see where I'm at before I can take the jump up and fight this brick. You know what I mean? This tough fucking this guy that's knows how to plot, knows how to break you down and finish you off. You know what I mean? So it is cool. Like even when in camps when I'm sparring with people, I try to get people that are longer. If I'm fighting Mike Ohan, like we had Michelle Rivera come down, he's a longer, faster boxer, way faster than Mike Ohan. You know what I mean? So it's like, all right, well, if I can keep up with him, even in the slightest bit, cutting him off, breaking him down, landing these shots, it's gonna benefit me on fight night because I got the timing. You know what I mean? I can outwork this kid. Even if I'm not outworking him, I'm hanging with this kid. You know what I mean? I'm here. So it's like, all right, this gives me the confidence now that Mike is not going to be as fast as this kid. He's probably not going to hit as fast as hard as this kid. So let's use this kid as a prime example of what's going to benefit me on fight night. You know what I mean? Like, and that's how I look at it with when I'm in that building stage of my career. It's like, okay, let's look and see how this guy fights and how is this going to benefit me 3 fights from now when I'm fighting, a Bang Williams or an Aaron DePonte. You know what I mean? Because those kids are talented and they're probably not going to miss many of the shots that they throw. They're going to land pretty precise, as I want to too. You know what I mean? I want to make it a good fight. So I try to. I don't want to say simulate. Yeah, I want to simulate though, like what this fight's going to be 3 fights from now. So like with Sandoval, he didn't really benefit me much when it came to Mike Ohan, but that was to see where I was going to be at if I was going to go to 135. You know what I mean? Okay, I'm going to go to 135. I'm going to be fighting these small little scrappy guys. This is probably going to be most of the guys I'm going to fight at 135. You know what I mean? That Isaac Cruz come forward banger style. You know what I mean? Try and plot and break you down. So that was like a cool way of seeing where I would be at now for 135. You know what I mean? If I'm going to fight at 135, got the smaller guy here, going to be more brawlic. And I thought I executed that game plan beautifully. So that's one reason why I still have that like urge to be at 135 is because, well, my last fight, even though it was at I was at 139 or 138, I still was the taller guy, and I executed a game plan that, I like to fight. I like to fight long, and I like to mix it up. I like to get inside, but I don't want to be there all night. And I felt like with Mike Ohan, I was there for most of the night in the pocket, and it wasn't anything that made me uncomfortable. But I mean, there's a reason why I got dropped with a fucking kidney shot. I mean, a liver shot is because I was in the pocket for too long, and that's not where I always want to be. You know what I mean? I will fight in there, and sometimes maybe my ego makes me stay there a bit too longer, but it's just like I feel like I can dictate the whole pace and the distance with these smaller weight classes rather than like. So I don't know. I don't know if it's welterweight. I just don't want to fight taller guys. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to have to step up and fight these taller, lankier guys. Which we know that there is 6'1", 6'2" guys that will cut down from fucking 190 to get to 147. You know what I mean? And it's like, so would I want to do? Do I take the risk and see where I'm at as a welterweight, or do I continue to make that grow and that run to 135? You know what I mean? Or do I try 140 a couple more times and see where I'm at and build myself back up and try to run it back with someone like a Ponte or Mike Ohan? You know what I mean? I got options. I do have options. That's one thing that, and between from 135 to 147, it doesn't make a crazy difference. But like I said, the height. That's the difference right now for me. I'm not worried about someone stronger. I'm not worried about. You can find strong little brawler fighters at 135. They're probably just as strong at 147. You know what I mean? It's the height for me. That's what creates the distance and what creates my range, where I want to be with my jab, and even popping the right hand and check lefting out. You know what I mean? Like I like to throw those combos where I'm kind of on the back foot, right hand right hand left hook, and I'm slipping out, double and jab. You know what I mean? Moving, not sitting there and having to double jab, smother the fucking distance, and then just start ripping fucking, shoe shining and trying to break you down. I mean, I'm not a knockout puncher, and I think my record and I only got 3 knockouts, and I hate to say it wasn't against anybody too fucking great. You know what I mean? If I was flash KO and people like Brandon Higgins or Mike Ohan, I'd be like, yeah, I'm a fucking knockout artist. I can knock out a lot of these journeyman guys, these prospects. You know what I mean? But you got to weigh out the factors. Like I'm not a big puncher. I'm more of a breakdown puncher, and I'm long. So I want to benefit off that as much as I can. You know what I mean? To my fullest. You know what I mean? That's where I'm at right now. I guess you could say with boxing. With triad being in there, I'm gonna have to learn a whole new style for that, because I mean there's not much room. You got 45-degree angles in between the fucking corners. So you get stuck in those corners. You almost got to kind of gunfight a little bit. So, I mean, from what I take it as, from the styles between, from triad to boxing, you can use the jab. And triad, it's easier to break the distance and come over the top when someone's just trying to jab at you. You know what I mean? So I'm going to almost have to find a way to be more of a parry counter, right hand, left hook. The jab will be there, but more utilize it as to create the distance again.
There's no throwaway jabs, because you might break your fucking hand. So you got to be more sure about everything you're throwing. It's got to be
precise.
Yeah.
Everything's got to be.
You can't risk throwing a jab on an elbow the way you could with a glove.
So we're learning how to kind of implement how we're going to throw punches in the ring. Like when I'm in the ring on fight night, like, dude, you can't really squeeze your fucking hand and throw full power. Like, you got to kind of like do like cup it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everything's going to be really, really cup. So you're not full on, like, I don't know. It's going to be different. That's the one thing I worry about is breaking my hand. Like, I don't give a fuck about getting cut. I mean, third Tiger Johnson, when I got cut, I looked at him and I was like, hey, listen, I had Joey Romalo in my corner. Shout out West End Gym. Joey Romalo is a well pronounced coach around this area. And I was like, hey, I'm bleeding. He's like, yeah, you got a cut under your eye. And I was like, well, now that's out of the way. You know what I mean? I'm not worried about that anymore. That just happened. But breaking my hand in a fight, I'd be like, fuck, I can't. I'm here to punch. You know what I mean? Like, cut. I'm like, all right, well, we can put some Vaseline on this. We can close this up. This will be good. You know what I mean? But breaking your hand in a fight, now you're like fighting a whole new.
Hey, listen, there is a lot of guys who break their hand in a fight and call it, and it's hard for me to ever fault guys like that, because it's like, not everyone's Arturo Gatti, like.
We got two key components here to winning the fight. Now I only got one. It's like,
I don't know if
what
you
are we
remember
doing
that
here?
early. You remember that early Lomachenko fight? He like breaks his hand in the first round and then just like completely outboxes this guy with one hand.
He was kind of flicking it near the end, right when he
Yeah.
started. Who was that against?
I don't remember it, but it was one of his early fights where we were just kind of getting to know how great he was, and you know, like
he was spinning him around and dancing with him though and stuff and hitting him with one hand. I remember that.
it was genius, man. It was, but not everybody can do that. So when
You know
a guy's like, you know,
there's
my
something
hand's
about
broken.
Lomachenko that a lot of fighters that don't have that is he uses his legs as a tool too. I mean, he really does.
Also, again, another guy that's not cutting weight.
He's not cutting. He's always there. Yeah, he's just there. I mean, I don't even think he'll ever need to jump up or jump down. I think he's just comfortable with where he is. They want to make the Shakur Stevenson fight happen, right? With that,
I fucking love that fight, man. I mean, I think we talked about this. I thought Lomachenko beat Haney. It was a very close fight, but I thought it was pretty obvious who won.
Dude, they robbed him, bro.
It sucked.
It sucked. And it's because they got their poster boy. They got their guy they want to sell. You know what I mean? This is boxing. I mean, it's like, I hate to say
it's ageism. It's ageism. Loma's 35 and they want young talent.
All right, we got a guy that's probably not going to be in the game too much longer. I mean, he'll be here for a while, but not. I mean, what? He's got like 2 or 3 really good years left in him. You got Devin Haney, who's just about to hit his prime, not even there yet. And it's like we could make this kid champ for years. You know what I mean? We could market this fucking kid and just have him be the next Floyd Mayweather. I mean, this is what they want to create. And I mean, he's circulated around the TMT team since he was a kid. I've been watching him since he was a kid. I mean,
he's incredible. He's incredible. He just didn't win that fight.
When I was 14 years old, when I first started boxing, I was watching videos of the real Devin Haney. You know what I mean? Like, and he was just a kid doing pads with like Roger and Floyd Senior and stuff, and like, and I knew this kid was going to be destined for greatness. When he walked out with Zab Judo holding the belts, I was like, dude, this kid's got all the pull. I mean, like, this is literally like they're turning this kid into.
That's his godfather.
It's his godfather. Oh, I know. Yeah. I know. I listen. I'm not a big fan of Devin Haney, but I like to say that I'm a real fan. Like, I've known him for a long time. You know what I mean? I've watched him since he was a kid. I remember there was another kid, famous Jay, I forget his name, but he was another young kid that I don't even know if he boxes anymore. But there was another kid out of the TMT gym that was just like. You could tell he had all the right people around him to make him great. You know what I mean? Like there was not one, like, dude, like I'm saying, like they had coaches, they have coaches for them to like what they're going to eat. They have nutritionists. They have all this stuff. They have a whole team. So it's like, these kids don't understand how great, like when they're that age, they don't realize that they're like the next staple of like greatness coming up. Like I watched Devin Haney become great, and now he's like now he's Devin Haney. You know what I mean? Like everyone's talking about how he's gonna be the next big thing. I still think he's beatable. I mean, I think that he showed that in that fight with fucking. I don't think if he keeps fighting with his chin up, Gervonta Davis puts him to night. All right, that's just gonna happen. I'm sorry, he's not good with southpaws as is, and well, Laniers is a southpaw, isn't he?
Yep.
So we already learned that from that fight. He was up fucking Bambi legs. Sooner or later, he's going to get caught. And it's
his jab has always been so dominant because, again, he's been like the taller guy. But I think that somebody like Loma,
he gets square at some point. Shakur never squares off. Always keeps his style very like his shoulders here for the catching. He's always defensively sound. Devin Haney makes mistakes, and he lunges with hooks. He'll lunge with hooks sometimes. He gets very, I don't want to say desperate, but he gets cocky.
He gets impatient.
Gets impatient and he gets greedy. He doesn't realize that this is a 12-round fight and you should break this man down and try to, solve him before you try and go in there and just try and, think you're going to hit him with every punch.
I think he still wants to be a power puncher and he's just not. You know
he's
what I mean?
He's not a power puncher. He's not a knockout artist.
No.
Out of any of those guys that I just said, if I got called to fight any of them, I would fight Devin Haney because I know I'd be able to say I went 12 rounds with Devin Haney.
Right.
He's not knocking me out. I'm sorry. I wouldn't let it happen, let alone. I feel like I would have the best chance amongst him where Gervonta is known to break you down and finish you. I mean, he was losing to Mario Barrios and he fucking started using his feints, dipping down after he hurt him in the body, and just coming back up top. And Mario was fucking scared. He didn't want to get hurt to the body no more. So he was fucking flinching and just bang, sending him fucking. He had him laying on his ass, dude. That was one of the best boxing matches I've ever seen someone, make a comeback like that. You know what I mean? Like break him down and just and just take his soul from him like that. Like it was just. I think he would do that to Devin. I believe it. I think Giravante would figure Devin out, would be smart, start to break him down, not really in the earlier rounds, but as the rounds progress, Devin would start getting impatient and start making his mistakes, and he would be there to get hit, and he would get punished. He would. Now, Shakur and him, he has a good chance with Shakur because it's kind of a boxer-puncher fight.
That's a styles make fights kind of fight.
Style make fight. And I don't think it's a smart fight for Devin. For Shakur, because Shakur's a little bit smaller, the body frame and all that. I think, if anything, he should try and outclass Giravante, get that name, and then see what he can do with that. You know what I mean? Like, rather than go in there and try and fight a boxer versus a boxer. You know what I mean? Like, it would be a fun fight, but it would be boring at points because they're both going to be very hesitant and very defensively sound and kind of playing the jab game and trying to work off that.
I don't know how official it is, but what do you think about the potential of October 28th, Reyes Prograis and Devin Haney? What do you think of that fight?
So, like I said, I told you how Reyes does the crash cut with the bathtub. I think he gets fucking knocked the fuck out by Devin.
Just because he drained himself.
I saw that video and I was like, dude, go to welterweight. Please go to welterweight. Like you're killing yourself. That was scary to watch. They had people feeling his pulse. Like I've never been that far in. I've been in weight cuts where I look like a straight crackhead. My fucking cheeks were sunken in, and I was definitely sitting there with body aches and like going like, what am I doing? Like I'm fucking killing myself here. But that was like, he was like borderline, like I should be taken to the hospital and probably hit with an IV right now. He was like at that point. You could tell the way he was breathing. Like he looked like he was on his fucking deathbed, bro.
Yeah, I just can't see how that's good for performance.
I don't think Devin kills himself like that to get to that weight.
I know it's hard for him to make 135, but I don't think that he's having people checking his vitals to make weight. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's put it like this. When I fought Aponte, when he came out of the weight cut room, he was like, he had people holding him up and he was like, he looked fucking drained. But me and him both got the water back in us, hydrated, and we were both, when we got into the ceremonial weigh-ins, the fake weigh-ins, it was like, I was like, this kid's hydrated again. He's clearly going to be ready for fight night. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see this really affecting him too much. But when you see a man laying on a fucking bed with his eyes shut, and he barely can breathe, and he's got people fucking giving him little bits of water and checking his vitals, that's scary. That's like, I don't know. It's just, I don't think Devin's there. I don't think Devin is, I'm sure he's cutting weight, like I said, with me and Aponte right now to get to that weight. But not like that. 140 probably isn't going to be that hard for him to, make that weight. He's been making 135, 130. So it's like, I don't know. I don't really know how to, I don't know how to perceive it. I just think he gets knocked. I think Prograis gets knocked out. I do. I think he gets knocked out because of the weight cut.
I think that's going to be a hell of a fight, man.
Can he give him a fight? Yeah, he's fucking amazing. Regis is what he did to that kid Ivan that time. He literally made the kid fucking claim he got hit with a low blow. It was like, dude, that was a beautiful body shot. Why are you playing this? You know what I mean? You got fucking.
He's a great power puncher, but like you said, if that's what it's taking for him to make
Ivan
weight,
Bokovic, whatever was it, Ivan Bokovic or whatever. That guy's like a pretty decent, like he was like a world contender at one point. So it's like for him to be able to put that much pressure and power behind his punches. He's a dangerous fucking guy. He definitely is. Regis, and he's became one of my, more recently became one of my more like, fighters I like to try and implement style. You know what I mean? Like see what I like to watch him and see what he does in the ring. You know what I mean? And I had his coach in my corner for the triad. Bobby,
that's cool.
Bobby, yeah.
That's awesome.
Bobby, yeah, I had him and Haas, Victor Ortiz's coach. So it was cool to see that. My coach just couldn't fly out for that fight, so I had a last minute thing, and he was one of the guys. He was my cut man, Bobby. But that's Regis Progress's main coach, Bobby Benton. Bobby Benton. He's a good coach, smart guy.
I've heard good things about him, bro.
Very, very smart guy. And listen, for us being the triad and really not know much, he was telling me little things, and it was like, okay, I'm gonna try that, and it was working. So him and Haas together were like, that was like a fucking. Those guys are fucking different, man. They see things and break things down. I mean, they've been on the world stage. Not saying that they fought on the world stage, but them coaching there and seeing it, they've seen it. It's not much they haven't seen. You know what I mean? Like, so it's pretty easy for them to kind of feed knowledge and break things down in between the rounds pretty quick. You know what I mean? Like, and it was cool just to see, like, because I was like, this is fucking different. And Haas was like, it's very different. And I'm like, it's not like boxing. And he's like, nope, but this is what we're going to do. And this is how you're going to do it. And this is how you're going to win this fight. And it was working. So, like, you know, working the right hand, left hook, kind of having more of that longer, you know, I don't want to say like older day brawling style like that, you know, Grealish style. But yeah, it was like, that's what kind of won the fight, creating that distance and being able to parry the shots and play longer, you know, longer defensive rather than tighter guard defense. So it was like, I don't know, man. It's just those type of coaches, man, they really know how to break it down and solve the problem. Regis was in great hands for that fight. So that's one thing I can tell you. He's got a good coach and a good camp around him. So I don't know though. It's going to be interesting. Devin Haney is the real deal, and that's not a fake thing. Should he have lost to Lomachenko? Yes, but did he do a great fight and performance? Yeah, that was a great fucking fight. It was fun to watch. I just think that Loma did a little bit more that should have, you know, pulled off the decision. And I thought the scoring was fucking terrible.
It was awful, bro. I mean, he clearly landed the cleaner shots. It's one of those fights where it was obvious that it was close. But even in a close fight, sometimes you could tell somebody's the obvious winner, and that felt like one of those.
He was turning head and like catching Devin pretty clean and flush, and Devin had once in a while would respond good with like the little midsection shots that he was throwing, and they were beautiful. They were really nice, but I just don't think it was enough to prove that, you know, Loma's punch count was a lot higher. I mean, that was just a thing. He was landing the more cleaner flush shots and putting it together a lot nicer. I thought Devin was kind of 1-2 pick shotting. You know what I mean? Like it was like 1-2 punches and not really much behind it. Not enough to really, you know, if I was a judge to earn my fucking decision, I'll tell you that much. And that's me. Like, listen, I'm a Loma fan, so maybe that is me being a little biased, but I know a good boxer and I know a good fighter when I see one. Devin's a great boxer and a great fighter. I just think that it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough it wouldn't be enough to earn my fucking, you know, my judging on it, to say that, you know, my scorecard to say that he won the fight. If at best a draw, you know what I mean? And that's me being generous.
No, I agree, bro. And every great fighter loses at some point. That's just a reality of boxing. You know, there's really only two guys that haven't, and other than that,
Floyd Mayweather is one of a kind.
And Ricardo Lopez, you know, those are really the only two.
That kid barely even got recognition off being an undefeated fighter like that too.
Yeah, no, he did.
Bud Crawford might be able to go undefeated, but the way he wants to take these challenges, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it would be cool to see our generation have a new era,
a new all-timer. Yeah.
It would be cool. That's the only reason why, like, because I'm a Canelo fan. I love the plotter style.
I love Canelo too.
He's fantastic to watch. I mean, he's just one of the best around. But I would have to pull for my Bud Crawford on this fight if he fought him, because I want to see this. I want to see the change. I want to see the new era. You know what I mean? I want to see this. I want to see it all play out. You know what I mean? Even if it's Charlo he fights, I don't think Charlo's going to beat Canelo. I mean, I know he has a boxer's chance, but he went to a draw with Castellano, and it was like he should have lost that fight. And I think Canelo would walk through the park with that guy. That guy's nasty.
Castaño's a good fighter, man, but if that kind of pressure bothers you, Canelo pressure is really going to bother you.
Well, Canelo will let you even take a couple rounds. He did that with Caleb Plant, and he plots, and he just figures you out. And right when you think you're winning the fight, he just storms on you and takes it. And like, and then you're hurt and you're broken down and you're trying to figure out what you can do to maybe, fix where you went wrong. And it's like, this motherfucker already figured you out, buddy. There's no, right now
Too late.
he stalked you. Yeah. The whole fight. He's figured you out already. Like you thought you were having your way and you thought you were going to keep this up. You're tired now. Your arms are tired. You're not in the same stance. Your hands are kind of coming down to jawline, and he's already figured you out where to hit you, where to touch you. He already knows where to touch you to figure out the next punch to land. You know what I mean? Like he is a boxing scientist. I mean, he just knows how to play the game. He knows how to fight the game. That's why he's so fun to watch though, is because the way he breaks you down, figures you out, and then just finishes you off. It's like, holy shit, dude. This guy doesn't fuck around. And David Benavidez does the same thing. He hunts you the whole time. And he lands punches too during. So the whole time you're getting hit, you're getting hunted. You got this guy who just is relentless. You can hit him with the fucking baseball bat and he's still going to be standing there. And you're like, oh man, dude, the fuck. It takes a lot out of you, I'm sure. You could see it in Caleb. He was just like, he thought he was winning the fight, man. He thought he was playing games.
Yeah, I did. And it was
then
like
the tide started turning. I'm sitting there going, oh, fuck. And dude, listen, I put a bet on Caleb to win. I mean, he was the underdog. He's a great fighter. I was like, he's a great boxer. I'm like, this guy can move. I was like, I just don't know if Benavidez is going to be able to cut him off and, maneuver around the ring like that. And then I think around the 6th round, I was like, I saw my money telling me to cash out, and I could have cashed out at like a $200 profit, but here I am seeing $1,000 winnings, and I'm like, give me the money, motherfucker, give me the money. And I'm sitting there, and then he's getting walked down and caught, and I'm watching the money just drop, and I'm like, oh no. And then after he got knocked out, I was like, this isn't good. This is not fucking good at all. And I look at the cash out, it's like cash out request like expired, and I'm like, oh fuck, here's the bookies right now telling me fuck you. You know what I mean? Like I could have just walked away with like a $200 profit, but I believed in him. I thought that maybe he could, I thought he could implement his game plan right and stay long and move. I thought he was doing great with Canelo. I thought he really was. And he's a great boxer. So it's like, I'll give this guy the chance, you know what I mean, the benefit of the doubt. But that Mexican style, man, of that plotting and breaking you down and
his hand speed. The thing about David is if you stand in one place for a second, his hand speed is incredible.
Good, and it's all power. It's not even like, dude, you could say hand speed. It's like hand power speed. Like it's like machine gun, blah blah blah. Like the way he finishes with the left is like, that's what makes people go, whoa. Like when you see them go flying, you're like, that motherfucker hits like a tank. That motherfucker is tough. I think he would give Canelo a hell of a fight. I really do.
I mean, I agree. That's the fight people want.
We might never see it. I think that's Canelo being selfish. I'm sorry. I'm not buying I don't want to fight my Mexican people. It's like, dude, just take the risk. Like give us a fight. Like you've been fighting. I hate to say it, like you fought everybody great. And then you've even kind of taken tune-up fights with like Yildirim and Callum Smith, and Callum Smith is a good fighter. I mean, I'm not taking that from him, but it's like for Canelo, it was a walk in the park. Let's see you get tested. I want to see something. You know what I mean? I want to see more than what DAZN was doing. DAZN was kind of re-padding him a little bit. It seemed like at one point, didn't it? Kind of seem like they were just they were keeping him active. You know what I mean? But now it's like, I want to see Canelo take another test. I want to see, and Caleb Plant was a test. Don't get me wrong, but I want to see the ultimate test now.
Well, in the last, I think since the Bivol fight, the last couple of fights he's had have not been his best, and so now I think people are trying to.
Bivol, and I'm not saying Bivol was a test, so that's kind of ignorant of me to say he hasn't been tested, but I want to see him get tested at super middleweight, not go up and fucking
No, and I agree. I just think like even after like the third Golovkin fight, that wasn't a great performance for him either, for either guy, and so I think at this point they're trying to.
That was a money fight.
He's trying to get a dominant performance. And if Jermell Charlo is the best fighter that he can have a dominant performance over, I think that's the goal.
Hey, if you want to take out retired fighters, or you want to, kind of cash out on yourself a little bit and just make the quick paydays, by all means do that. I love that for him. I'm happy to see him become, this big sensation, but it's like, you got these guys like Bubu Andrade and David Benavidez that haven't been tested yet, and they want to be tested, and you're the test. So give people what they want and show it.
You know they're fighting each other, right?
Bubu Andrade and David, right?
That's a fantastic fight.
Fantastic fight. And listen, Bubu Andrade is fucking unorthodox as shit. Like you thought Caleb Plant can move? That motherfucker can move. I will say he has been caught before. I think when he fought Alex Pivol, or whatever, the sweet Ukrainian guy or whatever, he did get caught a little bit. That was at the Hollywood Seminole, I think last year, 2 years ago. And he did get caught at one point that kind of like buckled him, but he recovered pretty quick. I mean, he hasn't really been hurt that much. So it's like, I don't see him. If he's going to get hurt, it's going to be from David Benavidez. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be someone like that has that artillery behind him, or Canelo that is going to break you down and, you know, sooner or later have those body shots, you know, breaking you down to the head. And, you know, that's one thing I love about him. He'll break your guts down. And then right when he, you know, has your fucking, you know, kind of has you possummed up, he just starts fucking unleashing those beautiful combos that are like, it's just so electric, dude, to watch it happen. Canelo is, out of our generation, I'd say one of the greatest. Obviously, he's taken risks where his record isn't, you know, perfect, but for like a boxer, puncher, plotter, he's probably one of my favorites right now, hands down. Has been my favorite.
I mean, dude, I couldn't agree more. Unfortunately, I do have to get going, which sucks. You're one of my favorite guys to podcast with.
Dude, listen, we'll do it again.
I know we will. But you come back September 16th. Make sure you send me any info so that I can post, you know, if there's links to the fights or whatever. And is there anybody anywhere you want to shout out before we wrap it up?
No, shout out Lawtown Boxing. Shout out Gabriel Morales and Luke in Chile. You guys are fucking killing it. I'm so happy to see my team, you know, prospering and becoming great. And shout out to all my people that are around me, just showing love and support, even after a loss. You know, sometimes it's tough to bounce back. And I'm bouncing back, baby. I'm going to be right back there September 16th at the BYB, bare knuckle, baby, making my debut. The gloves are coming off. I want to say shout out to my city of Haverhill and all my haters. I appreciate you and love you too. You know, that's just a big part of the game. So,
well, good luck in a couple weeks, man. And honestly, congratulations on a tremendous fight with Mike. I know it's tough to take an L, but it really was a fantastic fight.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate that so much.
All right, bro. We'll talk soon. All right.
Yes, sir.